Elevate Next is where New Orleans athletes level up. We offer skills training, leagues, and camps designed to build confidence, sharpen fundamentals, and help your child stand out on the court. Our professional coaches focus on real development, discipline, technique, and the mindset to thrive. If your athlete is ready for the next level, this is the place.
Visit elevatenext.com or call 504-229-2591.
Excuse me. I love sports. But sometimes, like when a t-shirt cannon hits me square in the nachos, I wonder, is Sport Clips better than sports?
Because sports plus a hot steamed towel beats sports plus hot exploding cheese.
I like your shirt.
Thanks. It was free. Sport Clips. It's a game changer.
Grind Elite Threads. Greatness is earned, never given. Outfit your team today with football, basketball, baseball, softball uniforms. Plus, school basketball apparel such as hoodie, practice jerseys, custom bags. Join the community where passion meets performance. Visit grindfp.com or call Justin at 337-660-9300 to order now. Check it out, basketball fans. With 19 sport clips across the state, there's one right near you. Look sharp, Louisiana, and get the MVP experience. Precision cut, shampoo, even throw on that hot steam towel. Step in today, leaving feeling like a champ. Sport Clips haircuts. It's a game changer. Cajun Graphics. Turn your idea into Cajun Graphics. Turn your ideas into eye-catching designs with Cajun Graphics. From custom t-shirts, team gear to business signs and vehicle wraps. We do it all Louisiana style. Fast, clean, and built to last. Cajun Graphics, where local pride meets bold design. We talk about it all the time, guys. If you've ever been to one of our events, you've seen the signage. Any of the signage that you see at our events is from Cajun Graphics. So if you're looking for something like that, some vehicle wraps, t-shirt designs, whatever you name it, they're going to claim it, man. Reach out to Jason over at Cajun Graphics, 225-333-8830.
New Orleans parents, Coach Sky's back in the gym. We're having a welcome back Coach Sky special. That's 4 group classes for only $50. Those classes will focus on skill development, focus on discipline, and also enhancing confidence. But this special won't last long, 10 days. 10 days is all you got. 4 classes for $50. If you're interested, please call us, text us, email us, or go to our website. We look forward to seeing you in the gym real soon.
What if your pet ever went missing? 1 in 3 pets go missing in their lifetime. Smart Tag 1. Tap or scan for instant ID. Real-time alerts, instant location, peace of mind. Powered by Smart Tag 1. Smart Tag 1, no app, no battery, just tap. Scan, tap, locate.
Red 93! Red 93! Sports are awesome. They're hot! But there are times, like when the QB pressure turns into hundreds of pounds of pressure on my spleen, that I wonder, is Sport Clips better than sports?
Because sports plus a neck and shoulder treatment beats sports plus dog piles.
Oh, that feels good on my spleen.
That's not where your spleen is.
It is now. Sport Clips. It's a game changer.
Looking to take your party to the next level? Big Easy Inflatables has you covered. Serving the greater New Orleans area, we're proud to be your local 5-star rated provider for bounce houses, water slides, and party rentals. From birthdays to big events, we bring the fun right to your backyard. Booking is simple. Just visit bigeasyinflatable.com or call or text at 504-270-1793. Call us today. Make your next celebration unforgettable with Big Easy Inflatables, where the party starts.
All right, man. Appreciate everybody for joining us, man. Again, another episode, LBR Live, breaking down the girls' second round brackets. Let's go ahead and get everything up, rocking and rolling, man. Before we get jumping into this too much, Coach Tracy, he actually has practice right now. He'll be joining us a little bit later. But man, Coach Golad, man, appreciate you for joining us, man. Congratulations, man, on a great year. You guys fell up a little short in the first round, man. But first year in it, man. First round of the playoffs, man. Congratulations, man. You want to kind of recap on that a little bit?
Man, yeah, appreciate that, man. First year at Lakeview, moving on program that was kind of rebuilding. Losing all 5, maybe 6 people that started that played the majority of the minutes in their state title game last year. It was a tough challenge, but we were up for it. We put our head down and went to work, me and my coaching staff. Shout out to Coach T, man. Came over from Natchez Central with me, Coach Bam, William Shields, man. They've been a great help for me, and we were able to move the program forward. And nobody expected us to be there, but we put our heads down and go back to work.
Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, congratulations to everybody, man, that made the playoffs. It gets time, that part of the season where every single time we play, half the teams are gone. So half the teams were eliminated on Thursday. Teams will play again tomorrow, roughly 24 hours from today. Half the teams will be eliminated again. So we really appreciate everybody for joining us. We're going to jump right into it. I know we got a little long-winded last time, so we're going to get it rocking and rolling. Like I said, Coach Tracy from Bell City, he'll jump on a little bit later. They do have practice. So we're going to start off Division I non-select, the biggest and the baddest. Man, I love some matches we got here. We talked about this earlier. We talked about this, the last round where we had so many matchups that were district rivalries and district, running it back from district games. Saw a lot of fun, interesting matchups. Yeah, the Natchez Central and Airline come down to a 3-point game. Destrehan Hineville was a 14-point game. There's a lot of really close games. Terrebonne Northwood Shreve was a 5-point game. As far as one of the deepest classes, as far as top to bottom, I think that's what we see here. In the Division I non-select. You want to kind of get us going here with your thoughts, man, on the top half of this bracket, man. Rematch of some common woes, man. Zachary and Walker have seen each other. Those girls have played against each other for the last 4, 5, 6 years. You go back into the middle school lineups as well. Very familiar with each other. That's an interesting game, man. What's your thoughts here on the top half of this bracket?
Yeah, man, you see some familiar matchups, especially with Zachary and Walker. That was a semifinal game last year, right? Now we have it in the second round this year. We got a couple of those games throughout the whole brackets where we see people that play maybe, and we'll talk about the next bracket, the select version, Woodlawn, Rouge, and Huntington, right? They play second round here in Shreveport. But Zachary Walker, I think, Coach Strong coming in, first year head coach taking over for Corey Arnold on that program machine that they've been on. Everybody thought Walker would just fall off and, wouldn't be Walker anymore. But to be able to get him to top 17 seed, I think he's done a great job. I think he runs into a formidable matchup here, probably, if not in this bracket. And Coach Tammy has kept the ship afloat after winning the state title last year. Ava Raymond, she McNeese commit, right?
Yep.
Is she committed to McNeese? Yeah. She committed to McNeese. She should have it done going this year. And so I got Zachary winning that one. No disrespect to Coach Strong and Walker. They've had a great year. The Natchez Central piece, man, we were, after our game, we were in the locker room. We were watching the live stream. And at one point, Natchez was down by 5, I think. In the closing minute or something like that, maybe closing 2 minutes, they were down by 5 and came storming back and win that game. So it's tough to beat an opponent in your district twice, 3 times in a row. That may have been the second time or third time they played Airline.
Yeah, they played.
So shout out to Coach Cox on that. Said it again.
I said they actually played back to back. They played last game of the regular season, first game of the playoffs. That's wild.
Yeah. So that Coach Cox got to look at him and be able to make the adjustment. That shows what kind of coach he is. They got to travel down to Destrehan. I hadn't seen too much this year. I think they lost to Parkway earlier, pretty bad. So I had to go to that top two. I go Zachary Negative Central. I think that's a rematch again of last year, correct?
I think so too. Yeah, let us know in the
Zachary beat
comments if that
Negative
is a
Central.
rematch. Y'all let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I think
Zachary and Walker played
if I'm
early.
not mistaken.
Zachary and Walker played early in the year as well. That was a 5-point game. So, I mean, honestly, if I'm Zachary, I really don't like that draw. I don't like playing a familiar foe where, let's be real, Walker has 0 to lose in that game. Like, Walker has absolutely nothing to lose. If they lose by 20, no one's going to say anything. If they lose by 2, 3, people are going to be like, wow, congratulations. Oh, such a good game. You almost had it. If they win, like everything's in their court. Like, Zachary has way more to lose in that game. I think that's a very scary game. You're gonna have to really be locked in because you're quote unquote supposed to win that game. But hey, you flash back to December 23rd. They only won by 5.
But I think, and I know it may be tough for Zachary there, but having home court advantage, and if I'm not mistaken, Walker lost the kid, correct? The shooter. Yes, they lost her, so not having her might be big for them. Zachary's kind of been there before on the big stage, knows how to get it done. I would even when you bringing up that point, I would still favor Zachary. And Walker pulls up, said they're gonna kill me online. I know, right? So, but yeah, I'll go Zachary. I haven't seen Suffer or Terrebonne. How about you?
So man, this is a really bad matchup for Terrebonne. Terrebonne, where the games I've seen them struggle in have been games that have are familiar in the same style of play that Sulphur has. So I think we can see Sulphur turn them over. If Sulphur has the ability to turn them over, continue to create turnovers, live ball turnovers at that. Terrebonne has a great, half court defense, like they're very structured, very sound. But if it gets up and down, they're having a lot of up and down turnovers, live ball turnovers. Sulphur can turn those into some easy buckets on the other end. I think that's going to be their game plan. Terrebonne's going to want to try to slow this down, play more of a half court style, get stops on defense, and lead that into transition. Get the ball inside to their big guy in London. And they've got a lot of pieces. Terrebonne is probably the better team as far as ability, like as far as like the best player at different positions and stuff. But Sulphur is, again, kind of like a Walker from years past. Just gonna be very consistent. Gonna play a style of play, and that style of play is a very bad draw for Terrebonne. And with that being said, I'm leaning Sulphur here. But I think if Terrebonne does find a way to jump out on them early, I think that can give them an opportunity. I don't think it's going to be too hostile of a crowd. Like we had talked about in the last live, this is where we saw Sulphur go on the road and beat Neville last year. I would not be shocked if Terrebonne went on the road and beat Sulphur. Terrebonne's been one of my top 25 teams regardless of classification. But I just feel like this is a very, very tough draw for them. So limit live ball turnovers, they got a chance. If not, Sulphur by double digits. And then that gets us down to Prairieville and Ouachita, man. I think that's another scary, sneaky game. I don't know. Or no, wait, we're up one.
I think we skipped over.
We got Houghton and Neville. Houghton and Neville.
Houghton and Neville.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Houghton and Neville, man. I
like Neville, man. I like Neville. They have 11, I believe, upperclassmen, juniors, and seniors, man. I really like Neville. I like their mindset. But again, this is where they got upset last year by Sulphur. Sulphur went on the road. Can Houghton do the same thing? What's your thoughts? Oh, do we lose you there?
You there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'm back. Yeah, you lost me for a second. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Neville, I agree with you. I think it's more of a toss up. Me personally, man. Halton has, everybody thought they would bottom out. Kid transfers out. I surely did. Guard, man. A 6 foot guard, I believe she is, something like that. She's a legit guard. I think Neville might have some problems with her, and I think Neville might have some problems with Halton's zone defense. Halton's long and sitting in that zone defense. Neville might have some problems with it, but we'll see if Neville can get it up and down and run it. I think they may be able to get Halton. But if Halton can slow it down and make it their game, kind of what they did to Parkway and kind of what they did to others in the country, where they just slow the game down and play that zone, slow defense, it may be beneficial. But I'm gonna lean towards Neville on this one.
What looking at this, what upset would surprise you the most? I feel like all these games are a lot closer on this top half of this bracket. And maybe the Halton upset would surprise me the most. Is there another game in here outside the Halton Neville game that would surprise you the most if you look up, and like I said, 24 hours from now and you get a text, Walker defeats Zachary. Does that surprise you more than Halton defeating Neville? Does terrible? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Walker versus Zachary. If Walker wins that one, that'll surprise me more, and I will feel like Zachary had a letdown year this year. I think Zachary's one of the favorites to walk right into Hammond to be in the state title game. And if they somehow get clipped by Walker here, I would. Zachary is the overall favorite in that game, heavily favored, I think. And if they were to get clipped by Walker, I'd be totally surprised.
So again, like this is just like all these matchups are pretty darn close. So you would probably rank as far as upsets: Natchitoches Central 1, Terrebonne 2, Halton 3, Walker 4. I guess would you agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's pretty fair, man. Again, it's. I think the thing with those that top half of that bracket, I think it's a lot closer than people may be giving them credit. Like I said, Walker Zachary is a 5-point game. I think Natchitoches Central is the favorite in the Destrehan game. Terrebonne has been one of the top 25 teams in my opinion, and then Neville lost in the second round last year. So there's a lot of familiarity, I guess, in that top half. Now we get down to the bottom half. I went back and did some more research. A lot of people talk about Dillon Springs being one of the hottest teams. I think Dillon Springs is one of the hottest teams. And again, if I'm Slidell, man, I hate to see Dillon Springs right there. I did not realize Dillon Springs popped Prairieville at one of the last games of the season. So what's your thoughts here on the bottom half of this bracket? What kind of stands out to you in the second round?
I'm with you on the Dillon Springs potential matchup in the quarters, man. Listen, I saw Dillon Springs coach somewhere. I can't remember where we were in the summer or something like that. I was telling him, I said, Coach, I expect y'all to be there in Hammond. I mean, y'all just keep it going. If he can get past South Lafourche and possibly get past Slidell, he has a great position to just be right back. And it'll be like the third year in a row, right, that they've been there. Yeah. It'll be third the quarters. Yeah, they didn't get there last year. We got them in the quarters last year, but it'll be 2 out of 3 years where they're just there in Hammond. So that program is it says a lot about what he does for his program. Out of this bottom half of the bracket, man, I'm really interested to see. I know people will say, "Oh, you biased," but okay. I'm going Parkway over Selman. Going Parkway over Selman. I think they're going to travel. Yeah, I'm going Parkway over Selman. I know those kids pretty well, man. I think Zaria Baker clicks it in to another level. I think, but everybody focuses on Zaria Baker, but what they fail to realize, man, they have a Kennedy Locke and just puts her head down and go to work. They have a Jasmine Hendricks, that number 10, man, and that just does all the dirty work. She's played by Michaela. She's played by Chloe. She's played next to Dakota. And so she knows what it does to get the job done. Now, I don't like their third round potential matchup, but I do like them over Selman in the second round.
And guys, let us know in the comments, man. What's y'all's thoughts in that Parkway versus Salmon game? I think that is the biggest quote unquote upset potential there. You know, Parkway, a program that's won multiple state championships, made to the top 28 multiple years in a row. A lot of kids with a lot of experience. Maybe not as much experience on the floor as some of these other teams that return guys, but people that have been on that bus ride, the expectation. That is the biggest one, man. Kendall had a great year at Salmon. I agree, man. We had a lot of people had a lot of great years at Salmon. Salmon, at the end of the day, won every game they were supposed to that was in front of them, in my opinion. And with that being said, unfortunately, you're awarded one of the best teams that's been in the last 5 years in the second round. And if you do happen to win that one, now you're coming up against one of the hottest teams in the state in Prairieville. So Salmon really got a tough draw. And I'm in agreement with you, man. I think Salmon is at least on upset alert. If I had to pick a game to attend tomorrow, it would be that one. Parkway at Salmon is going to be a quarterfinal style playoff atmosphere game. That's a huge game for Salmon. Salmon's got to get everybody in the school to show up to that game. Everyone's got to be showing up and supporting because they're going to need it, man. Parkway's going to have to travel. It's a long ways to travel. They're not going to have a huge fan base. Salmon's going to need everybody. I actually talked to the official tonight that has that game tomorrow.
Right.
I was telling him, man, I was like, look, make sure everybody's on their A game, man, because that's a quarter. Even though it's a second round game, that is as big as it gets for a game. So the officials from Thibodaux, they're gonna travel down. And, that's gonna be a fun one, man. That's probably the one I'm most excited about. But man, as far as matchups, man, Denham Springs at Slidell in the quarterfinals, that's huge. Like I said, Denham Springs popped Prairieville by almost 20, beat them by 18 last game of the season. So arguably nobody is as hot as Denham Springs right now. Man, we got a lot of people in the comments saying.
Look at it this way, man.
Go ahead.
Look at it this way. Like I said, I see that comment. Denham's battle tested. Let's look at it. If Parkway gets past Salmon, somehow gets past Prairieville, then here we are again. Parkway, Denham Springs can't get rid of each other the last 2 years. They played in the state championship game, quarterfinals last year, and then possibly the semifinal of each other. I was reading today and I saw something today, man, and we talk about the higher seeds and the upsets. They start using in 2008. They start using the power rankings for the girls' playoffs, and there has not been anything higher than the 9 seed, right? That has won a state title. Captain Shreve and I can't remember who was the second one that did it. It's only been done 2 times since 2008, man. So we're looking at Parkway trying to, if Walker walks in and pops Zachary, then we could have Halton against Neville. You see what I'm saying? It could be done all over this bracket.
Yeah, and I'll even double down on that in the Division I as far as a team that has a chance of making it select, as far as a team of a high seed that has a chance of making it to the top 28. A lot of people were talking about Liberty last podcast whenever we went live, and I went back and looked at Liberty's track record and down the stretch this last month. I agree with him, man. Liberty's got a chance. Whenever you start getting into those double-digit seeded teams, you got the Parkways, the Liberties. We're not saying that these guys are the favorites, but man, upset alert has been sounded, and Salmon is on upset alert. I will agree with you. If I had to pick one of these 8 games, that is the one that I would circle as possibly the biggest upset alert for sure, man. And South Lafourche, man, South Lafourche
Coach, welcome in.
Ropes. South Lafourche was on the ropes against Southside, man. So they squeaked by Southside. Did they carry a little bit of momentum into that game? We're talking a lot about Denham Springs. South Lafourche has the ability to get one of Denham's best players in foul trouble. Again, you don't want to overlook Hall of Fame coach and Coach Kathy Luke there. So I think we're not really talking about Denham. Again, we're not talking about West Monroe, as West Monroe has been arguably a top 25 team that we've talked about. So there are some other matchups here all the way down the line, man. All the way down the line. Now, Coach Golab, man, I'll challenge you again, man. Rank these 4 matchups here in possible upsets, like we did on the top half. You'd have Parkway number 1. Who would be your next possible upset?
I would go the next possible one. Washita traveling to Prairieville. If that happens, oh my God, you know what I mean. But I think we're not talking about Washita goes upset Ruston. That's another one. They just had beat Ruston at the end of the display, and then they get them in the first round, and they beat them again. And I talked to Cooper, and he was just like, man, Washita's a tough draw for anybody. And I think, they have the size inside. They got the guards, and they're just going to be relentless pressure on you, get up in your face. If I'm not mistaken, Prairieville lost the guard down. I'm not mistaken. I don't know for sure if that was true. So, Washita, can they go down to Prairieville and upset? I would put that over the Parkway versus Selman.
As far as most likely, or as far as like most shocking?
Oh! If it was just the most surprising, the most likely it would be Parkway over Salmon. 2, if I did 2, it would definitely be West Monroe over Slidell, and then 3 would be Washita over Prairieville.
And I think you just, when it gets to the 5A level, Division I non-select, man, you got to be locked in, laser focused. You can't just show up. You can't not hype the school up. Like, everyone's got to be bought in, man. Because again, Prairieville, I believe it's the first playoff game for them. I'm not 100% sure, but man, that place has got to be packed, dude. Because if it's not, you come out here and you get punched in the mouth, you're gonna wind up like we talked about. You're gonna wind up like Neville last year and playing catch up the whole time, and then you start feeling that pressure. You start really feeling that pressure. If you're a team that's trying to go on the road, you want to keep it as close as you can. You obviously want to try to jump out on them, but you want to keep it as close as you can for as long as you can. And I think a lot of these teams have the capability of doing that, whether it's foul trouble or whatever style of matchups. Division I non-select is very, very interesting this year. I would not be surprised if we see multiple upsets in the second round. But, man, Coach Tracy, man, how was practice, man? We appreciate you joining us, man. We're just wrapping up Division I non-select, man. You got any comments on here for us?
No, y'all know more about them than I do. Like I said, it's the only one I've really seen play was they were pretty dang impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Post players really good. Had good guards. They were pretty good.
Absolutely, man. We'll keep it moving, guys. Again, guys, anybody in the comments, man, feel free to jump in. If you got any feedback, any thoughts, man, it definitely helps. Even from last time we went live prior to the first round, man, we learned a lot of information because of you guys. Did a lot of homework because of that, and man, it's helping us grow as well. So hit that share button. Continue to comment anything you got, but we'll get it moving on to the next round of Division I select. You got John Curtis, Huntington, Shreve, Ash. Who you like on this side, man? We talked about it last week. The best draw of the entire playoffs, all 10 divisions, is the bottom half of this bracket. Everybody at the bottom half loved their bracket. But in the gauntlet, who you got in the top half right here, Coach Golab?
Are you talking to me? Let me get to it. I'm sorry. In the gauntlet, in the top half, man, don't underestimate Huntington. I'm interested, man. I'm actually thinking about driving down to that Acadiana Alexandria game. I think that's going to be a fun game. I really think that's going to be a fun game. Coach Jimmy, Coach Corey, two friends. I know they get after each other a lot, but I think that's going to be a fun. And the winner out of that has a great chance. But you win that game, you got to come to 6801 Raspberry Lane, which is a tough environment at Huntington, out like none other. Huntington's got a tough seat draw themselves. Woodlawn's no slouch, right? That's, again, we talked about it earlier. That's a rematch of last year's state title game in the second round. You know what I mean? So, Kendall Graham going out. I mean, it's her last year. I doubt she's gonna have any letdown. She's gonna be on one tomorrow night. North Texas signee. She's not gonna let her hometown down. She's not gonna let her team down. I look forward for her to be on one. See her going for 30 points tomorrow night. And willing Huntington to that victory. And then, Acadiana or Alexandria got to come rolling into Huntington. Up top, didn't expect to see Hammond there. I thought it was going to be Lafayette. But sources out of Lafayette tell me they couldn't control whoever number I don't know the girl's name, number 23 from Hammond just had her way with Lafayette is what I'm told. And they just couldn't stop her one way or another. So Captain Shreve, did Captain Shreve and John Curtis play already?
Let me see. I'll pull it up for you. They did not. I think they might have played over the summer.
Okay, I know Shreve played someone from down there. Yeah, that's what it was. Played over the summer. Yeah. They played at LHSA. The thing Monroe, in Monroe. Yeah. So, but I match up for Shreve. To be the man, John Curtis been consistent there. Shreve young, missing some from injury. I would have to lean towards John Curtis on that one. If I would be the villain in I'm gonna be the villain in Shreveport if Shreve wins. I'll take that. But Coach Hughes and Coach Green knows I don't mean any harm by that. So that's my pick: John Curtis and Shreve out of the Alexandria mix. I don't want to get caught up in that one. And
that's going to be a good game. That's one I'd really like to go.
My phone and just two Story and Jimmy, and so I'm not going to pick that one. And now I run it to the top.
I'm interested in the Ash and Acadiana game as well. I think Acadiana likes that draw, despite having to go on the road to Huntington. I think Acadiana style play will kind of wear Ash down a little bit. I was told from one of the officials that had the Ash and Mount Carmel game that Mount Carmel really had that game in hand and kind of lost it down the stretch. I look for kind of be the other way around in the second round there. I think I think we could see Acadiana win that game by possibly even double digits. If they can turn them over again back to the live ball turnover situation. If Ash is able to bang it inside or rebound, offensive rebounds, bang it inside, then I think they'll have a chance. May have a little bit more size from 3 to 5 as far as their depth there. Could see some, foul trouble, different things like that. But I think as far as style of play, up and down, the style that game's going to be forced, like Corey's going to force that game to be away, I think Acadiana advances. And I really am interested to see, a lot of people talking about Acadiana and Ash. I'm interested to see Acadiana and Huntington game because Acadiana is going to take the ball out of Kendall Graham's hands. And if the big kid for Huntington does not come up to play, she's going to have 20 and 20. And I think that's the same thing with the Ash game. They're going to have to find somebody, it could be collectively, where they're going to have 20 and 20. 20 points, 20 rebounds, and it could be a 3 or 4, or it could be a couple guys. But Huntington's going to really lean on one guy to do that. And, man, I think Acadiana has a puncher's chance to find a way back to the top 28, which would be crazy to say, but seen definitely some great things.
Something the other day, maybe even yesterday, where it's a 20-game turnaround that he's orchestrated there at Acadiana. So shout out to Coach Corey Arnold, man. Just doing what he does and wins game. His way of doing things is proven to be true. Shout out to him bringing that style of play to Acadiana, turning the program, the culture around, and has them knocking on, perhaps like you just said, a shot at Hammond. I get it what you said about, they're going to take the ball out of try to take the ball, but the Huntington's prepared for that all year. That's what everybody's tried to do to them all year, is take the ball out of Kendall hands. And I think they've proven that they can handle that. I was at a game between them and Parkway, and Parkway tried to do the same thing, and I think she was still the leading scorer. So and Huntington had it and just lost it there in the last minute, I think. But it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see, and I think this top half, like you said, is a gauntlet, man. Not so much in the bottom half.
If I'm looking at film and I'm Acadiana Huntington, I'm looking at the Huntington versus Simpson film. And I just think the way Simpson played that game, they just continued to wear down Kendall Graham, wear down. She still got hers. I mean, she's a Division I player, arguably the best guard in the state, regardless of classification. So she's obviously still going to get hers, but, man, they really made her work, man. And they just kept going. And I feel like that's a very similar matchup, man. So I think that's a tough matchup for Huntington. Again, whenever you look back at same thing with Walker at Zachary, man, if Acadiana does get by Ash and they lose by 25 to Huntington, nobody's going to say anything. But if they keep it close, it's going to be, hey, man, congratulations, great job. If they find a way to win, like they've got, again, absolutely nothing to lose, man. I just think it's a very tough matchup. What's your thoughts on the comment above, man? Coach Cox says John Curtis versus Shreve is a future state championship game. Man, we've seen Shreve play really, really, really well. But it's the consistency, man. They've had a couple lulls. And in the playoffs, man, you got to find a way to win several games in a row. Can they stretch out, when you're talking about 5 games in a row? What's your thoughts on that comment there?
I totally agree with Coach. I totally am about Shreve consistent this year. I'm one of the ones that picked Shreve was going to win it this year because I saw that going on. Bumped into Coach Green at the store. We been here 1 week, and we're talking about the girl Lee Halton headed out to Texas, and then a couple days later, I bump into the same store, and he's saying he's head down because he lost the key ACL tear. And so I think them not having their main guard is kind of inconsistent this year. I think, like Coach Cox said, when she comes back, man, we're looking at least one of the next 2 years. They're going to be state title game, John Curtis versus Shreve.
For sure. Coach Trace, you got anything else on the top half of this before we move on to the bottom half?
No, sir. That's out of my element up there.
That's all right. Hey,
like I said, I know Corey. I just know Corey does a great job where he's at. I know Jimmy does a great job where he's at, and that's why I said it would. I'd love to go watch that. It's two good coaches, and they're going to have their teams ready.
For sure. And we have not made it to Division III non-select yet. We are on Division I, going 1-1, 2-2 all the way down. So this is what we're talking about, man. The best draw in the bracket. You got, all 8 of these teams, when they saw this bracket and the way it lined up, they are absolutely fired up, and they would take it 10 out of 10 times. I'm sure all 8 coaches went and bought themselves a lottery ticket because it doesn't get any better than this. And this is where I'm talking about earlier, where you have Liberty at that 18 seed going against one of the softest 2 seeds we've seen in a long, long time in Riverdale. I think that could be an upset alert there. If Liberty does decide to find a way to get some momentum there, can Liberty go on the road and win 3 games on the road and then make it to Hammond? I don't know if that has ever happened before, especially with the way the rules changes have changed here, where now you have to have the no matter what, the higher seed is getting the home game in the quarterfinals. So Liberty will have to go on the road, first round, on the road, second round, and on the road, third round to make it to the top 28. I think they've got a great draw, and they do have an opportunity there. What's your thoughts here, man, with these 4 matchups, and what you see, man?
I haven't seen St. Joe's and St. Thomas. Ponchatoula we're talking about Ponchatoula in the mix, right? Coach Patricia is just one of our top coaches in the state, and she's gonna that young team at Scotlandville, Coach Bree has done an outstanding job turning that program around. Like you said last week, man, a couple of days ago, we remember Scotlandville last year. She was fielding, had 7 people on the bus to go play, right? And she's sitting at number 6 with all those wins. So she's turned that program around. Shout out to her. It's going to be a tough matchup with Ponchatoula. I know that they got 11 by their name, but it is Ponchatoula. And they have what I would think soon to be Hall of Fame coach. You know what I mean? She's going to throw the kitchen sink at those young kids and see if they can handle it. It's going to be tough. Scotlandville gets by that one, in my opinion, I believe. And it's I'm with you, like you said last. If Scotlandville gets by that one, I can see Scotlandville in Hammond. I can see Scotlandville and Hammond this year. You see what I'm saying? And so the bottom, if I'm with you on Liberty, can they go on the road? Turlins Catholic, I don't really think. I saw Tile this year. They're really impressive. I gave Parkway all they can handle this year. So I would suspect if Liberty can get that draw, like you said, and get past Riverdale, they looking pretty good.
It's very interesting, whenever you look back at these schedules of these 8 teams, man. Nobody's as battle tested as Ponchatoula, but with that coming, there comes a lot of losses, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 3-7 their last 10 games, but a lot of these games were respectfully against better teams than teams that are in this part of the bracket. So can they find a way to stay strong? Look, we're 3-7 in our last 10. That's not very good. That's like the Pelicans, right? But man, you're playing against the top half of the league. You're playing against the top half. So can you shake back? That I don't know. That's a tough task, because at the end of the day, as far as carrying some type of momentum into the playoffs, I want to be on a win streak. I want the kids used to winning and used to finding ways to win games. So that's the only reason why I would lean towards Scotlandville there. St. Joseph Academy, I think, is the better team. I like their style of play. Again, man, shout out to Coach Tim and what he's done over there. When he took over that program, they had 0 people, not a single person in the entire school, which is the largest school in the state, played AAU basketball, played summer basketball, not a single one. So if you have 0 people that play summer and AAU basketball, you're not going to be very good. So he turned that program around from what it did there to making the top 28 already, making it to the semifinals already, and now they got a 3 seed next to their name. I think they carry that momentum. Let's see, has Scotlandville and St. Joseph played each other? I'm trying to pull that up.
Yes, they have.
What was the score of that game?
They played at Scotlandville, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah,
I think,
Scotlandville won by 1 point.
So that was the last game of the season. So again, I would love to see a rematch there. Quarterfinal game at St. Joseph's. That would be really, really fun, man. So again, that's a very, very close matchup. Nobody in the comments, nobody has really talked about Turlins Catholic, man. I like Turlins Catholic. I really do. I like them this summer. They've got 2 sisters, a post player and a point guard that are very big for their size as far as their position, a big guard and a big post. And they will be 2 of the bigger players at their position on this half of the bracket. So they've got a clear size advantage, clear length advantage. Again, also more so senior and upperclassmen heavy there. I think this could be a year where we can see Turlins Catholic make a run. So we've got people talking about Turlins Catholic, Tioga, Liberty, Ponchatoula. That's 4 teams that are 7 seed or higher that can make a run on this half of the bracket. And then we go down to the bottom. We got everybody counting Riverdale out. Coach, you had something to say?
Turlings, they lost by 2 to Lafayette Christian. So that means that I know what type of Daryl does over there and so forth. Only lost by 8 or 6 to North Vermilion, because I kind of kept up with them a little bit. So they're not bad. I haven't got a chance to see them play, but I remember looking at their scores earlier that they're going to be competitive. And like I said, I watched them play in Hammond last year, and they were very impressive. Kind of surprised me, But so that's not one. I know they're ranked high, but it's not one of those. They shouldn't be ranked there. They're pretty good.
And you got St. Thomas More.
Chris, think about it.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You got a comment here. St. Thomas More also beat Scotlandville. So St. Thomas More, who's a 14 seed, has beat St. Thomas More. So it's like this bottom half of the bracket, man, all 8 of these people are fired up about the draw. We could literally see any one of these 8 teams come out of this part of the bracket, man. It's exciting, man. It really is. And Coach Cox asked, is St. Joseph an all-girls school? St. Joseph is an all-girls school. Go ahead, Coach Golad. What'd you say?
I was just saying, man, to these, we could potentially, and y'all have highlighted, we could, in this lower half of the bracket, we could potentially see match, man. Scotlandville gets past Ponchatoula, gets past St. Joe or St. Thomas More. They could possibly, if Liberty can have Liberty in the semifinals, and that game, golly, if you saw the social media post about that game, went into overtime. I think Coach Bree and Coach Vanessa, I think Coach Wilson, I think that's her name, right? I think they're both like, okay, yeah, let me get that game again in Hammond. You know what I mean? So, it could get very interesting here at the bottom. All the while, the top half is battling each other through the gauntlet. You know what I mean? So, this one is interesting, man.
I tell you, whoever the 2 teams that do come out of this bottom half of the bracket is going to be what dreams are made of, dude. Like they're going to go on a historic run. Whoever it is, like I said, Ponchatoula is 3-7 going into the playoffs. They make a run to the top 28, which would be crazy. Scotlandville, I think they start 5 freshmen. If not, I know 5 freshmen on the court 80% of the time. That would be crazy. St. Joseph Academy, like I talked about. Backtrack a few years ago, nobody was playing there. You're not seeing soul. St. Thomas More could get there with 14 at a 14 seed. Liberty could go on the road 3 times in a row and make it to the top 28. Like this is it's crazy. Whatever and whoever does come out of this side is going to have one hell of a story, man. It's one hell of a story. But guys, we really appreciate all the comments, man. Keep those coming. We're going to move it on along to Division 2, non-select, man. Coach Golad, man, go ahead and start us off, man. What's your thoughts here? I think this is the Wasserman Invitational that they've called it. I don't know. I think you may have changed the name to the Lagrange and everyone else. But man, what's your thoughts here as this bracket starting to shake up?
Man. Listen, man, I got killed in North Louisiana when I made that comment the other night, man. I got killed in North Louisiana and said, what are you talking about? Wiseman's going to wipe the floor with LaGrange. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I didn't snatch up. And shout out to Coach Rob, man. He does a great job at Wiseman. The potential of winning 5 state championships in a row puts him in a class, only a few have ascended to. You know what I mean? So, him, Coach Jenks, I think any other ones, Coach Sampson from Scotlandville, though the win 5 in a row, man, is in an elite company by itself. So shouts out to Wiseman, man. Nobody's overlooking them. Just getting the conversation started, as we always say. You know what I mean? But I do think they will face did they face Sterlington this year? They did not play. No. They did not. I don't see them on their schedule. I think that's going to be a good matchup. I know it. I think it'll really be a good matchup. I think if I had to bet, Sterlington looks like they have something to prove this. And I would have to go with. We always say you got to beat the man, Al Osmond, until somebody beat him.
And you got a lot of people were talking about Wiseman. You kind of talked about that last time. People, they lost a lot of guys, X, Y, Z, but you look up, and now here they are on the opposite of what Ponchatoula was doing, limping to the playoffs. They're on a 10-game win streak. And in that 10-game win streak, they beat some big-time teams. And Huntington, Shreve, a lot of people were talking about Tioga. They smacked them. They beat a lot of playoff teams. They beat a lot of big-time playoff teams coming into the stretch. So if I'm Coach Otis and I have 4 state championships in a row, I'm being as quiet as a mouse as I can in that corner. And I'm letting Coach Kendrick and everybody else talk about LaGrange and Sterlington and all these guys. Because here they are sneaking in with 4 titles in a row. And somehow they're the underdog. They won 10 in a row. They beat Huntington. They beat Shreve. Teams we're talking about competing in the Division I select tournament. And here comes the Wasserman Wildcats, man. I guess we'll try again. I guess we'll try to win another one. If we don't, oh well, we weren't supposed to. But, man, how amazing is that to be a 4-time state champs in a row and to be considered an underdog? That is a pretty good spot to be in.
And man, and that's a shout out, and that's a testament to what he spoke at the coaching this summer, right? To tell his story, how he got in coaching and whatnot, and how he ended up with this team. And he did a great job there. And who basketball, man? You think, okay, man, they're losing Wilson, they're losing Argosy, and they're gonna fall off, man. I don't think Division II might be wide open this year. And like you say, here they are once again, probably. We're talking about them potentially as an underdog, but in realistic, they're probably the favorites because they got all the experience. You know what I mean? And so shout out to them, man. That's just a testament to him and his coaching staff and what they do to keep the program just rocking and rolling. I just want to see what the 5th ring look like. That's all I want to see.
Man, breaking that down, this part of the bracket, so you got Sterlington. I think Sterlington rolls on pretty easily there. I like Iota. I think Iota's got an opportunity to get on the road and defeat West Feliciana. Again, West Feliciana's a guy that does a fantastic job over there, year in, year out, has multiple home games, and they've done it again, scheduled very, very well. But I think Iota is finally getting to that hump, man. They keep getting to that hump, getting to that hump, getting to that hump. Can they get into the quarterfinals? My pick, which will come out either later tonight or in the morning, I'm actually going to go with Iota there in the upset. Then we get down to that bottom part, man. I was ranting and raving about Lakeshore, and man, Bastrop. Shout out to Bastrop. Bastrop goes on the road and pops them. Now they're the 21 seed, and that game is going to be interesting, man. This is where I thought that game was supposed to be at Bastrop. That was changed. As well, second round is that higher seed as well?
Yeah, higher seeds are throughout.
Yeah, all the way through. So that's another thing that's even more impressive with Liberty's opportunity, man. Just because to go on the road 3 times in a row, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be very. I'm very interested to see that. I would actually like to see that happen. But does Bastrop has some pieces, man. Bastrop has some pieces. Can they come on the road and defeat Iowa? I don't know. A lot of people are talking about Iowa and the new kids on the block, and now they made it last year to the top 28. Tough draw at the 5 seed, same spot as Wasserman. I don't love that draw with Bastrop there. And then if you do win that, now you got to go on the road to Wasserman. That's probably one of the tougher draws. I would almost rather go on the road to Sterlington or North Vermilion, LaGrange, really anywhere else other than having to travel all the way to Wasserman. And so you got a tough home game, then you got to go on the road at Wasserman. I don't know, that's tough. That's tough. Coach Trace, you got any thoughts, man, on this part of the bracket here?
Well, Courtney and I talk pretty often at Iowa, and she does a great job. She's won a state title when she was at Hathaway, and she'll have her kids ready. They're not real deep, but they play well together. She has some athletes. Sometimes they kind of struggle scoring sometimes, but defensively and rebounding, they make up for it. So, they're one of those teams that can cause teams some problems. I know last year we talked about, me and her talked about, Wasserman. And, they were talking about Wasserman had lost some pieces. They may not be as strong as they are. And looking at Wasserman's schedule, they're still pretty dang good. So I know she's worried about Bastrop, but I think they can pull that out, and them and Walsman, that'll be one to watch too. I'd love to watch that one.
As far as
I know she.
as far as quarterfinal playoff games, Iowa, who's been trying to knock off Wasserman now for 2-3 years in a row now, have to go into into Wasserman, where they're the other side of that coin. They're the 4-time defending state champs. You got the new kid on the block, and Iowa trying to come in. Man, that's about as good a quarterfinal game as you can get. And two great fan bases.
Iowa has nothing.
Go ahead.
Iowa has nothing to lose.
Yep.
They're you go back and you listen to everybody talk. They have no chance of winning. It's Walsman, and they got the big W on their uniform and so forth. But I don't think her kids will be scared to go play them. So that would be one. Like I said, if to watch, I'd really like to watch that one. I agree in the top part. Sterlington's going to be the team to beat. I don't see anybody else being able to stay with them, to that point. But I'm like you. Walsman's the ones you want to stay away from in that top part of the bracket.
Absolutely. We'll move it on down to the bottom. Coach Golett, man, you start us off right here, man. What's your thoughts, man? What you like to see? And Lagrange is going to win a state title. You said, are we standing behind that?
Yeah.
72 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to stand behind it. I'm going to stand behind that 72 hours ago, man. I got them in the finals in this, coming out of the finals, out of this bottom bracket. And I know he doesn't probably want me to say that. He's probably kicking a can. And you know him. He's watching. Well, shout out to Coach Holmes. I know you're watching. And, I know he's probably saying, don't do that, Golett. And he'll probably call me. But yeah, I just think, he has Albany sitting there, and can't overlook Albany. Bruisley. He's doing a good job. Coach is doing a good job with him. Bruley, man. And I say this every year, so I want to keep the tradition going. Every year I talk to him at the beginning of the year, he says, I'm down, I'm rebuilding. And here he is every year, top 10 team. That don't look like you're down and rebuilding to me. So,
that's a good
shout out to him. Yeah, so and that's a good down year. Every year that I talk to him, he says, I'm down. And so I think he's just, hyping himself up and just trying to downplay it. But shout out to him, man. They took care of Minden and whatnot. And but he has tradition, never graduates in Albany, staring him down there. I think I haven't seen Albany play, but just the way they do things over there, I think it may be tough for him to beat Albany. But we'll see. Lagrange and Albany is going to be interesting to me. But I've stuck my neck out on the line last week, and I'm going to stick with it. And Lagrange gets by that one.
Albany at Lagrange is a rematch from I believe it was 2 years ago. Y'all let us know in the comments. I think Lagrange went to Albany. And unfortunately, Lagrange's point guard tore ACL in that quarterfinal game. But it's one of those things again where whenever you're one of the better programs, and especially in these divisions, you see the same names over and over and over. And eventually they have to run into each other, right? Like North Vermilion and Albany ran into each other last year. This year it looks like it's going to be North Vermilion and South Bow. But again, South Bow, Albany, Bruley, Lagrange, North Vermilion, all these are teams, Wasserman, Iowa, all these are teams year in, year out, man. And again, I really think it's a big shout out to Wasserman. It's a shout out to Wasserman, just like it's a shout out to Kyle Jinks at Fairview, where the style of play in this division has gotten so much better because they had no choice but to reach up to the bar that was set by one of the elite teams in Wasserman. So that bar has been set over the years. Now here we are 5 years in a row. Everyone's trying to get up to that bar. And I think this whole division is rising up. I've said it before. I'll say it again, man. What Coach Jack's done over at North Vermilion, I absolutely love what he's done. And now that they got the 3 next to their name, another year with multiple home games, I think this is the year North Vermilion gets to the top 28. I think they find a way to get past South Bow. I think they will play Lagrange, like you had said, in that top 28 game. I think we see a lot of chalk on this side of the bracket. Albany is better than the 7 seed. So their best player, their shooter, she's been out, or she was out the first half of the season, missed a lot of games, and she's come back. They're back on rolling. Looking at their schedule, they won 8 of their last 10 with losses to Ponchatoula and loss to Springfield, 2 top teams in their respective division. So I think Albany is battle tested. If anybody can go on the road, it would be an Albany or a South Bow that could do that. We saw Albany go on the road last year. Albany won at North Vermilion on the road in the quarterfinals. So it's still tough draws, man. It's still tough draws, but in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And I got Wasp at the top half. And, man, Lagrange, I don't know, man. I don't know. Do they got enough? Coach Golad says yes, no doubt about it. But the journey's still out. The verdict's still out, man. Coach Trace, you got anything to add on to the bottom half of this bracket?
Well, I like Lagrange at the bottom of that bracket for sure. And when you move up a little bit, North Vermilion, South Beauregard, that's a good matchup. It's 2 completely different styles to me. You know, I know Jack well. I know Sarah well. You know, we talk a lot of basketball, and we played South Beauregard, and we played North Vermilion in the summer. And, you know, that is a good matchup to see. It's contrast, well, different styles to that point where I'd like to watch that game. I think that would be a intriguing matchup.
We got some really good quarterfinal games for sure. But guys, again, we appreciate all the comments, man. You guys join us. Got anything to say, man? We really appreciate all that. We're gonna keep it moving. Get into Division 2 Select. The Baton Rouge Invitational, I guess, is what it's been here lately. You got Madison Prep at the 1 seed. You can scroll down to the 2 seed, U High, and then the 3 seed, Parkview Baptist, all in the same district. Anybody in the comments know another time that the top 1, 2, and 3 have all come from the same district? I would love to hear about that one. But man, Baton Rouge basketball is better than ever, man. And you see it all over this bracket here. Coach Golad, man, what's your thoughts here on the top half of this bracket? I like Northside. I don't know if they have enough to defeat Madison Prep. I kind of like their draw. Now, I'm interested to see how Carver does on the big stage. But what's your thoughts here on the top half of this bracket?
Well, man, let's shout out to I'll start with Madison Prep and Booker T. Washington Shreveport. Shout out to Coach Rudy and what he's done, taking over a tough situation here at Booker T. Washington. They lost their coach Wynn, transition this year and he took over. And those kids are playing with the mission: win for win. And they wear that on their chest, and they grind out every day here. Coach Rudy was at Northwood a couple of years ago, and he's just a good coach. He's proven to be a good coach, a young, good coach, up and coming coach, and he's gonna always have his girls ready to play. Him and his coaching staff, Coach Sean, they're gonna always have their girls ready to play. I think it may be too much, and I told everybody, don't be surprised that the Big T goes in and beat Peabody, and they did just that. I like Booker T's big. I saw him when we were at the Logan Sport tournament, and we played him, and she's just relentless. And if she gets going, she can dominate a game. She's a hidden jewel. College coaches, get your eyes on her. I think Madison Prep is just going to be too talented. Madison Prep every year. And I just think they're going to be too talented and just be a little bit too much for Booker T. Washington Shreveport.
And I want to give a shout out as well, man. Going on the road and winning at Peabody is definitely difficult, girls or boys. So that's definitely a huge win. Definitely, put a feather in the cap, give you a little bit of a pep in your step as you do go on the road at Madison Prep. Respectfully, the Madison Prep crowd is not going to be huge. Whenever you get to that style in this division, what I tend to see from experience, myself coaching my own team, man, a lot of people they don't show up to these games. Like they did not show up to Monday night games because they're like, oh yeah, we'll just come to the Thursday night game. So it could be a situation where again you've got absolutely nothing to lose, man. And Madison Prep sits back in the 2-3 zone. You start banging some shots or get some offensive rebounds. Next thing you know, you got a tie game heading to the second quarter, and you're in a dogfight. I would not be shocked if that was the case. As I also would not be shocked if they were up by 25 at halftime. But if I'm Madison Prep, I'm one of these top seeded teams. I'm like, look, I understand we made it to the top 28, 5 years in a row, but look, we still need y'all to come out to the Monday night game. We still need this fan support in our game Monday. Don't just come out to the Thursday night game. Like I said, I love Northside. I like what I saw from them. They've got 5, 6, 7 guys that can put the ball in the hole, which translates really, really well. I think they're a team that has enough talent that can compete with Madison Prep in that Thursday night game. And then on the bottom half of the bracket, man, I think Carver is going to roll through Willow. And again, I think that's going to be really fun atmosphere Thursday night at Carver. I don't know if Carver girls have ever had a home quarterfinal playoff game. So I really hope the city, I hope their school, everyone rallies behind them. Carver's a team that I'm rooting for to make to the top 28. I think that would be really, really fun, just like we saw Sacred Heart of New Orleans make it last year for the first time. And I forgot how many years that it's been since they made it. But I just like what I've seen now to Carver and their coaching staff over the last 4 or 5 years. And the growth and the time that they put into it is starting to pay off with that 4 seed next to their name. But they got to close it out and make that run. Coach Trace, you got anything to say on this part of the bracket before we move down to the bottom?
I've got a question. Is Errol Rogers' daughter the coach at Northside?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Me and him talk a lot. He told me, he said she has got some really good athletes. So, I mean, if she's got some good athletes, we played Madison Prep. That's one of our losses. And they're so athletic. That may be one to watch.
Absolutely. And, the one game that they did lose was to Terrence Catholic in a 1-point game. So Northside runs in a lot of momentum coming down the line. So they're 9-1 coming into the playoffs with only a 1-point loss to Terrence Catholic. So Coach Aaron's doing a fantastic job. I'm really excited about Northside, and just as a fan, I'm really rooting for Carver, man. Just because I've seen how much time and energy that coaching staff and those players have put in to this run. So I really hope the city rallies behind them. But we're gonna roll down to the bottom half of the bracket here. Coach Golay, you want to get us started right here? I saw Northside beat North Vermilion. Stevie was out. Okay. Go ahead, Coach Golay.
You talking about the bottom side?
Yeah.
I'm going to defer to y'all on the bottom side. I haven't seen any of those teams on the bottom. I'm going to defer to y'all on that one.
So, I mean, I guess the biggest question I have for you, man, is Parkview Baptist was getting steamrolled. Your words, not my words. They were getting steamrolled the last 2 and 3 years. Now you kind of look ahead and you got possible matchup Parkview Baptist versus the defending state champ Vanderbilt Catholic. What's your thoughts on that kind of a matchup? We've seen those two teams the last couple of years at the top 28. That's been two teams that have made deep runs over the last 3-4 years. Now they're going to play in the quarterfinals. One team advances, one team goes home. Who's your team that goes home there, man? Defending state champs or Parkview Baptist going to?
I would have to say, and just looking at the schedules and who they lost to and who they played, Parkview Baptist didn't do too bad against Zachary. And they lose to Southern Lab only by 4. So if that's my only two of my 3 losses, then they lost to Prairieville by 1. If that's my 3 losses. If I'm coach, I am sitting well, and I like matchup, and I'm going Parkview Baptist on that one. Parkview Baptist over Van Catholic. You know what I mean? I think Vanderbilt, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at their schedule again.
You heard it here first. The defending state champs with 2 Division I players will not make it to the top 28. There will not be at Hammond this year. Man, I hate to see those 2 teams match up in the quarterfinals. And then again, no discredit to Hannon, man. What their coaching staff has done over the years, 4 or 5 years now, John. I mean, year in, year out, they're always an 8, 9, 10, 11 seed, man. I love what they're doing, man. I would love for my daughter to play in that program under that coaching staff. They play a ton of games over the summer. Everyone just continues to get better. They don't have any Division I athletes on that team, Division I players, but man, they got a lot of kids with great IQs and kids that just continue to get better. So if Vanderbilt Catholic finds a way, got a kid or 2 in foul trouble, man, we could be looking at this, and it could be Hannon on the road at Parkview Baptist. But I agree with you as well. I think we see Parkview Baptist defeat Vanderbilt Catholic. I love the style of play Parkview Baptist has. Moving the basketball around is not going to bode well for Vanderbilt. Whether you're playing man-to-man, it's going to be a lot of swinging the ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You got to be really good 1 through 5. And Vanderbilt Catholic just is not that this year. They're a little top-heavy. If you are playing zone, they've got the shooters that can shoot it out, lights out, and they're going to be in their home gym. It's just been a team that has gotten better and better and better. Like I said, again, another great coaching staff, and they went from the program was about to be canceled for 2 years and not play varsity to here they are, top 28 after top 28 after top 28, state champion. Man, it's been fun to watch. It's been a great pleasure to watch, and that's going to be a very good quarterfinal game. Hopefully we're able to talk about that one a little bit more detailed. But then we get down to the bottom half, man. You got Edie White. U-High's going to be way too deep and too well-oiled of a machine against Booker T. Washington. They'll cruise on there. But U-High and Edie White, man, what's your thoughts there? Edie White just seems like they just can't get over the hump and punch their ticket to the top 28. They have any chance this year to make it to Hammond?
And just looking at, like I said, I hadn't seen them. Just looking at their schedules and seeing who they're played. Looking at one point, Edie White went on like a 5-6 game losing streak there in the middle of the season. And ATL Bulls, Prairieville, Hahnville, North Vermilion, Warren Easton. And then they shake back. Look like when they got to right at their district time, and they only lose to South Laflutian District. I think ULab, I think they beat the Madison, no, lost to Madison Prep, but lost to Parkview Baptist. It's gonna be interesting, man. I would go ULab in that one. Price just based off, didn't do too bad against John Curtis. Looking at their schedule, they hung with Zachary a little bit earlier in the year, but just being battle tested, I would have to go with ULab on that one.
Yeah, and I mean the comment here, don't count out Haynes. I don't disagree with that. I just like what Edie White's been building over the last couple of years. And to be honest with you, man, they've had a lighter schedule, more like Riverdale in the past, and they really ramped up their schedule some this year. And with that, they saw a lot more L's than they have in the past. So that's something to keep an eye on. But I do agree with JB here. I think that Haynes at Edie White is going to be a lot closer than people may think. I would not be surprised if Haynes does defeat Edie White. But whoever does come out of that is going to have their hands full with U-High and what Kennedy's got going over there. And, they've just got a well-oiled machine. U-High rocks and rolls, got, Coach McMahon's daughter. They've got a lot of pieces and their style of play is really, really fun. Carver did beat Vanderbilt Catholic early in the year. Again, man, whenever you're the best team and over the course of years, Vanderbilt Catholic's been one of the better teams, top 28, state championship runner-up, defending state champs. When teams smell blood, they're coming in for the kill. They're tired of getting beat up and beat up and beat up and losing to you and losing to you. And Carver saw that, hey, this is the state championship team. You got to bring your A game every single night. Now, the playoffs are a little bit different, but man, if anybody sees or sees an opportunity to compete against Vanderbilt Catholic, they're gonna go in and try to get their get back. And JB is also talking about Journey and Stewart, man. The best two players, or two of the best players, the best two seniors in this division for sure, are on the same team. But it's gonna take more than those two cats, man. Stewart's going to try to will her team. Journey's going to have to knock down some shots. They're going to have a puncher's chance. But if you have not seen Parkview Baptist basketball, it's a fun style of basketball, man. Everybody touches it. Everybody can shoot it. Everybody defends. The ball does not stick. Reminds me of the Spurs with Greg Popovich. The ball is constantly moving side to side to side. If you got a point for every time the ball went from one side to the other, Parkview Baptist would be up by thousands of points over anybody else in the entire state. They literally moved the ball from side to side more and better than anybody in the state. And because of that, only having two guys, whether you're playing zone, they're going to shoot your lights out, or they're playing man-to-man, man, it's going to be tough. It's just a very, very tough matchup for Vanderbilt. I would, if I'm Vanderbilt, I would have loved them in any other spot, honestly. But yeah, Coach Trace, you got anything else?
Well, my question before we leave. I'm sorry. My question before we leave this bracket here, man. I haven't seen them, and they're in your neck of the woods. Carver, man. We're talking about a team that was a 15 seed last year, and now they're a 4 seed this year. What's going on at Carver? What turnaround that they have?
So, like I said, man, I'm a Carver fan based off of what Coach and her staff has done and what those young ladies have done, man. They bought in from a 4-year stretch, just slowly gotten better. And respectfully, girls basketball in the state, in the area of New Orleans is down. And they're one of the teams that is up. They're one of the better teams in our area. This is them. It's De La Salle. Chappelle's having a pretty good year. John Curtis. But then it's kind of like everyone else. And that stretch in between everyone else is huge. And Carver's winning the games that they're supposed to win. But they've put in the time over the last 3 to 4 years. Same coaching staff, same group of kids. They've come to our camps. They've come to our events and stuff like that. And they're just putting in the time, putting in the work. And because of that, they're paying off. And I'm a big-time Carver fan. On this run, somebody was talking about it's going to be alumni night, so that's huge. I hope the crowd, the city, the school, I hope everyone gets behind that group, because we can be looking back at a really fun year, a really fun run, just like we saw with Sacred Heart of New Orleans, where they had one of the most historic runs ever, made it to the state championship for the first time ever, and then they building off of that. Now they're a 3 seed again, right? So they get behind them, man. The sky's the limit for Carver, man. Not only for this year, but for the future. Coach Trace, you got anything else on this one?
No, sir.
All right, guys, we're moving on, man. Division III, non-select, top half, the French Settlement Invitational, I guess. I really like French Settlement. I love their game with Stella, Northwestern State signee. They've got their 4th, 5th best guy back, so they've got their true starting 5. Been having them kind of midway through December. They did see a game against I saw that game. They were without 2 guys there. I think that would have been a little bit closer. But, I like this game. I like this part of the bracket. I was a big fan, like I said, about Ville Platte. I think somebody commented earlier, French Summit wins. I believe that is the case as well. Springfield wins. I would agree with that as well. And then Ville Platte also defeats Doyle. That's what the comment says. I would agree with all that. But But if I'm Springfield, man, the magic that is in Oakdale, I don't know what is in the food and the water over there, but man, it's like this time of year always kind of starts shaking up. You start seeing the three ball from the parking lot, to make make to the state tournament. Like you see Renata sharing the state championship trophy, the pictures and stuff like that. Does Oakdale have any more magic left in that team? I don't know. What y'all's thoughts here on the top half of this bracket?
I kind of think French Settlement, the one signee there. I think they're the number one seed for a reason. But when you're looking at LaDelia, man, scoring 75 points in their first round playoff game, it could make it interesting. But I think French Settlement will handle that one. The Richwood and Union Parish is going to be interesting. That's in our neck of the woods up here. Richwood has a Division I signee as well. I think it's going to be interesting. I'll go Richwood on that one. Haven't really been consistent this year. Look at their schedule. When they played, some of the heavy hitters hadn't fared well against Wiseman and some of those people. But I will go on the neck of woods and say they'll get Union Parish there. And what about Doll? Doll's just always in the mix. I don't care. We always talk about Doll every year around this time, every year about the program that they got. But as we found out, Ville Platte is a team to be slept on. They something in the water at Ville Platte. They're very athletic, and they got something going there. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them score against Springfield and possibly getting it.
Yeah, I mean, I like that matchup. I just like Ville Platte, man. I think it's gonna be very difficult to go into the Ville, I guess you can call it, and to win a game there, man. The only thing good about going on the road and playing at Ville Platte is maybe you can stop by Mama's Fried Chicken on the way home or on the way up, grab you a good bite to eat. But going in there and trying to get a win is freaking tough, man. And I think Doyle's gonna find that out. You walk into that gym, you got it feels like everyone's right on top of you. I think you're already down by 10. I don't know if Doyle has enough firepower this year to come out of that. But man, what's your thoughts on Oakdale? Does Oakdale have any chance? Does the O have any chance? I mean, I don't want them coming after you again, man. But do you think the O has any chance against Springfield? Oh, did we lose him?
No, I'm here. Who did you say about who had a chance against Springfield? I'm sorry.
Oakdale.
Thinking Oakdale.
Does Oakdale
Man,
have
look,
any chance?
man, they're champions for a reason. They go up this year, right? They were down one last year, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
No?
That's correct.
Yeah, so they're champions last year. They took down Carolina last year to win that title. They've had some pretty tough losses. Losing to Ed Clark, they lost to Ville Platte by 2. So, and we're ranting and raving about Ville Platte. So, if we're thinking Ville Platte can stay with Springfield, man, I'll give them a puncher's chance there. They only lost to Ash by 3. So I definitely say they have a chance.
Coach Tracy, you got any thoughts on the top half of this bracket?
Well, kind of looking at it, Springfield played French Settlement at home and lost by 1. So Springfield must be pretty good, kind of looking at it. Doll's always, they're so well coached. French Settlement went to Ville Platte, I think, already this year, didn't they? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. Let's see.
And played. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I think that was a tournament game. But yeah, they did defeat defeat Ville Platte.
Yeah, at Ville Platte already. Oakdale, they do have athletes. I think Springfield will be able to pull that out. The Ville Platte Doyle game may be a good one. I know Ville Platte has a lot of athletes. I don't know much about Union Parish and Richwood, but my top, this part of the bracket, I still think French Settlement is the team to beat.
Even like you said, man, if you're French Settlement, I really don't know if you want to see Springfield. You really want to see Doyle or Oakdale or somebody or Ville Platte, somebody upset those guys. Just don't really want to. It's hard to beat a team multiple times in the year. Like we said, they have defeated Ville Platte, and that was a little bit more multiple points, I guess. But Springfield being a close game, that's a little scary, man. If I'm coaching, I'm trying to pick somebody that I want to play. I don't know if I want to see Springfield Lady Bulldogs come out of that other side.
No.
So let's keep
Springfield only beat French Settlement by 1.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, looking at it.
Yep.
That's gonna be tough. That's
that part of the bracket is fun, man. That part of the bracket is fun for sure. So we'll move it on down. Division 3, non-select at the bottom half of the bracket. Coach Golat, man, you go ahead and start us off, man. Westlake, we talked about Roussel, man, and what she's doing over there. They graduate the Twins, but Roussel picks it up right where they left off, and they're even a higher seed now. They're a 3 seed. Can the Lady Rams make a run? We talked about Mansfield and Red River earlier in the week. And you got Miss Future McDonald's All-American Caroline Bradley sitting at the bottom, man. What's your thoughts?
Man, I'll talk about the bottom part of it. That's pretty much more in my area. But I like the Red River Mansfield matchup. It goes to what we were saying, man. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Red River's already beat Mansfield twice, right? So, Ken Mansfield and their Hall of Fame coach, soon to be, Kendra Neal, she's a championship coach. She scheme up to stop Crawford inside. I think that's the key with anybody beating Red River is, can you stop her inside? And if you can control her, you got a pretty good shot. It's going to be tough at Mansfield. Gonna be really tough. They'll probably pack that place out. Like if you know anything about Mansfield, but I'll go Red River there a 3rd time over Mansfield, and then I'll go Oak Grove, definitely Oak Grove over Winfield, and Crawford versus Caroline. Man, it's gonna be a good matchup. But I'm not gonna fall victim to the what if could have. Caroline's gonna win that one.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And again, man, if we talk about it all the time, man. I'll be remiss to not use this platform to talk about Caroline Bradley over at Oak Grove, and they're as close to Arkansas as you can get. You walk out the back gym and throw a rock, and you're gonna throw a rock at Arkansas. But with that being said, man, they are still representing Louisiana, and she does represent Louisiana to the fullest. Caroline Bradley is the best post player in the state since Kalani Brown. And like we said, fast forward, Kalani Brown was a 2-time All-American at Baylor. So Caroline Bradley is walking down those footsteps. She was named the Naismith Player to Watch, National Player to Watch as a junior this year. So Gatorade Player of the Year last year. She'll likely end up winning it 3 years in a row. Man, anytime you get an opportunity to watch her. So we are rooting for them to make the trip back to Hammond. If you're a girls basketball fan, you've got to get in the gym. Just like what it was with Michaela Williams as a McDonald's All-American. Those guys do not come around very often in the state. So Caroline Bradley will be the next one. She's a junior, got 2 years left. Circle the date, circle the team. And if you have a young lady that is a girls basketball fan and wants to grow up and play this game at a high level, she's definitely somebody to look up to. But with that being said, man, I love the lady.
Man, listen.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, man, listen, I'm just harping. I'm piggybacking off you on Caroline, man. I was standing there last year, that game, them in Oakdale in the final, man, and I'm sitting there right before our game there, and she's just dominating. And, I know talk, the losing teams get the MVP, but, man, if you saw what she did hands down in that game, you would be like, wow. You know what I mean? I've seen her play from afar, but just standing like I did last year in Hammond and see that kid just dominate the way she, just like you said, man, it's generational talent. It was just like it was with Michaela Williams. a couple years back, and now it's Caroline carrying the torch for the girls in the state of Louisiana. My question to you is though, what if we had to throw it out at Vegas, man? Where's she signing?
I don't know, man. I hope we get the opportunity to ask her at the state championship. I would phrase the question somewhere along the lines of, Michaela Williams will be graduating from LSU, retiring the purple and gold here as Caroline is stepping foot onto the campus or a campus. We would love to see, the Louisiana ties continue through LSU. I will tell you this. No one will and no one has outworked Kim Mulkey, as that conversation with Caroline Bradley has been had since Kim was at Baylor. And I don't know how many people are on here, but before Kim coached at LSU, she was at Baylor. So this was still a long time ago. They are very good at identifying talent at a very young age. And Caroline was in that 7th, 8th grade, and she was on a weekly phone call with head coach Kim Mulkey. So they are putting in the time. I can promise you that, man. My heart, my head tells me LSU. I know she was in the building for South Carolina LSU. I saw that. It looked like they had a great time. But I do know that her family, herself, they will go through that recruiting process, enjoy every second of it. And rightfully so, man. Rightfully so. She is only a junior. But I can see that decision coming sooner rather than later. At the end of next summer or beginning of next school year. So, man, but with that being said, man, the other half of that bracket, Westlake Lady Rams, are they the favorite? Coach Tracy, what's your thoughts there on that top half? You got Church Point. Man, shout out to Pine. Pine scoring 87 points. Can Westlake keep up with that? Westlake has not scored, I don't think, in the 80s. This year. What y'all's thoughts on that? I thought that was very interesting. Pine scoring 87.
Well, I think it's going to end up being a semifinal rematch with Westlake and Oak Grove. I think, I would give Gina the edge over Church Point, but I think they'll have their hands full, Westlake, because I think Westlake will pull out that win against Pine. Mansfield and Red River, I don't know a lot about, but I just find it hard for Caroline to not make it back to the tournament. So I'm going to go back and say Westlake, Oak Grove in the semifinals again.
No, that would definitely be a fun one. That's definitely it's a very good matchup for Oak Grove and Caroline Bradley. The Springfields, the Ville Platts, French Settlement, who else is down there? Those guys play more up and down, really get after it, press and stuff like that. Westlake is going to be more of a not able to run as much as those guys on the top half. So I like the draw from Oak Grove. I would love to see Westlake with Roussel and Caroline Bradley going at it head-to-head. That would be really, really fun. But, man, there's levels to this game. And Caroline Bradley's just at a whole another level. And I think she's got it on her mind, man. We saw it in her eyes, just like we saw it in Michaela Williams' eyes as she was a sophomore heading into her junior year. So definitely very, very interesting. We'll keep it moving, guys. And going to the LCA Invitational. Coach Golab, man. LCA is going to win this year, but who you got in second place?
Well, first of all, I like what Coach Earl did there. He went on ahead and got that game out the way. Looks like Saturday, right? Got it out the way. He's sitting at home. He'll probably get in the gym, go scout Episcopal and Newman there. That's a great idea. I didn't think of that one. But that's a great idea what he did to go ahead and get it done. I like De La Salle, man. I really do. Coach Mike, every year we talk about him, man. He's gotten his team sitting there, and they have a young girl. Don't quite know her name, but she's hooping this year, right? I see him highlighting her a lot. And that's down in your area there, your old district with Ursuline, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Rapides has done a good job just being consistent this year, just staying there. But Holy Savior Menard, I think will be too much for them. Say LaSalle versus Menard there. I don't know anything about the Episcopal and Newman. I did see film on Episcopal when I was scouting East Feliciana. I think, right? No, yeah. Maybe I did. I saw film on them, and they look pretty good on film. Can they get past? I'm not sure.
And the young lady you're talking about, Yamari Brown, man, is a dog, like a high-level track athletes transition to the basketball court. Big, like good size, 5'9", 5'10", plays the wing, transition her game, more guard skills. And she is the engine for De La Salle. And Menard's going to have their hands full with trying to slow her down. But also on the inside, man, you got Big Carly on the inside. Menard will run into another New Orleans team. They ran into Sacred Heart of New Orleans last year. Carly was able to end up getting in foul trouble. Sacred Heart got the better end of that. Now they run into another New Orleans team in De La Salle. De La Salle has actually defeated Sacred Heart, I do believe, earlier this year or late in the year. So I think De La Salle is the better team. Can they go on the road and win at Menard? That'll be Carly's last ever game in that gym. That's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be someone playing with a lot of emotion, very like everything on the line. Everyone in the gym's gonna be rallying behind her and her team. That's gonna be fun. That's another quarterfinal game that I would definitely like to watch. Hopefully that's something that 446 Sports picks up. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun one, man. Menard and Carly versus the De La Salle and Brown. That's the biggest one that I'm looking at here on this half. Coach, you got anything to add on this part?
No, I agree with you. The Menard De La Salle game, I think Menard's gonna have a little too much for Rapides. They played each other already this year. Coach Whittington over there does a really good job at Menard. Game plans really well, so. That would be an interesting game too. I would love to watch that one.
Then we move down to the bottom half of the bracket again. Talked about it. Sacred Heart of New Orleans has made it to this many state championships, and that was last year. And I think the school's been around for about 100 years. So here they are, piggybacking off of the momentum that they had, the historic run they had last year. They're a 3 seed again. Got a great draw. They really got a great draw, great opportunity to find themselves back into the top 28. I think they're the favorite. Personally, I could see them winning both of these games by double digits. I think Sacred Heart just transitions, man, from a program that has seen countless cross-country state championships has now turned into a perennial New Orleans really good basketball team, man. And just year in, year out, here we are seeing them making runs to Hammond. I think they make another run. It's going to be who will see them on the bottom side. I like Geo Next and what they've done in Baton Rouge. Again, Madison Prep, Parkview Baptist, U-High setting the tone. Liberty setting the tone. Geo Next is in that area as well, trying to get up to that level. They've made a great run here. But I think Rose Pond, man, we talk about it, and we've seen them year in, year out, man. Coach Kelly does a fantastic job, man. What's y'all's thoughts? You got any more feedback on this bottom half of the bracket?
I like part of the bracket. If you look at this part of the bracket, it almost aligns identical to last year's part of the bracket. Sacred Heart was the seed last year. Rose Pine was the 3 seed. North Christian was the 6th seed last year. North Lake Christian was the 6th seed last year. You had 3-6 Rose Pine playing North Lake Christian. And that's a potential now 10-2 North Lake Christian versus Rose Pine. And then you have the roles reversed as it was last year in Hammond. Sacred Heart versus Rose Pine 2-3, just the roles reversed. I like this side. Coach Kelly does a great job, man. That's I'm not going to bet against him at all when it comes to game planning and the job that he does with those kids. Man, he's one of one of the best coaches here in the state of Louisiana, hands down, that we have. You know, he's on that level, if you ask me. So I think he's going to do a great job in having his girls prepared. That machine just keeps coming at you, hand down. So I'll go Rose Pine and over Sacred Heart. Rose Pine to the final game. That's what I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, both those teams have only lost combined 3 games since, I believe, like December 6th, and Rose Pine and Sacred Heart, New Orleans. So at the end of the day, man, you got to win the games in front of you. And both those programs, Coach Ward and Coach Kelly, have done a great job of finding a way to win basketball games. So it's definitely going to be 2 teams that are favored to make it to the top 28. Coach Tracy, man, you got any more feedback on the bottom half of this bracket?
Well, I'm like y'all. Coach KT at Rose Pine has played a horrendous schedule. Midland, Fairview, Negrete, Natchitoches Central, Anacoco, Simpson, at Simpson, if I'm not mistaken. So they're definitely battle tested, and he does a great job with them. They do a good job defensively. They're shooting the ball well. They're really, really tough to beat. So yeah, I agree. Rose Pine would be the one that I think has a really good chance at getting back there.
It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun to
keep he didn't dodge any smoke at all. Yeah, he didn't dodge any smoke at all in scheduling this year at all. Like you said, the 5As, the 4As, the 3As. He didn't dodge any smoke at all. So it's gonna be.
Yep. All right, guys, let's keep it moving, man. Got Midland, man. It's really interesting to see the Midland team and what they've done over the last few years. You know, finally punching that ticket into the top 28. You know, making a deep run. Now here we are. They're the 1 seed. Man, what's your thoughts, Coach Golat, on their draw here? I personally really like their draw, man. I think if I had an opportunity to fill this bracket out myself, and I'm Midland, I don't know if I would have filled it out any different. Because I think they've got the apps all the way to the championship. And, again, another team that's really challenged themselves schedule-wise. And, you know, we always talk about, you know, Molly and their guard there, man. But, man, the other guard alongside her that does actually handle the rock the most of the time, I might have had to pull her name up. I was really, really impressed with her at LaGrange, man. And I think she's taking her game to another level. And I think because of that, that is the sole reason why they're the 1 seed. Because she's taking so much of the pressure off of Tori and Savoy and Thibodeau, allowing those 2 guys to do what they got to do on the perimeter. And she just is being steady as can be at the point guard position, man. Right, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. Man, listen, you still. Oh, my bad. Yeah, Midland's earned the right to be the number 1. They didn't dodge anybody this year. Far as the LaGrange, the Zacharys, the Hathaway, they didn't really dodge anybody. The Madison Prep, they played all those. The Lafayette Christians, you know, and I know that's their district. But I think that's just battle tested them to be that number 1 seed. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna overlook Jonesboro Hodge. We played them this year. They got some young pieces. And Coach does a great job with the squad that she has. But I think Midland was just gonna be too much for them a little bit, way too much for them. And so I can't see anybody in this top half until we get to Hammond giving run for their money. Until we get to Hammond. And I say that, you know, I don't know. I haven't seen Franklin or White Castle, but I just played East Feliciana. And shout out to Coach. He does a great job. But, man, I've had nightmares since Friday because, you know, I think the score there, 38-20, is not how that game went. The score was 10-9 at halftime. And as for me as a coach, I'm sitting there down 10-9 at halftime on a 5 seed, and I'm the 28 seed. I was in great shape. Halfway through the third quarter, scores 13-12. We was just, they made the better plays. They run and got a run on us, and we just couldn't get back in it. So shout out to Coach and his staff. And I say that because I think Logansport gets past West St. John, and I absolutely haven't played Logansport 2 times this year. I don't see a way East Valenciana can handle the relentless pressure Logansport and Coach Childers bring night in, night out. And man, they got some. I think Logansport's best kid is a freshman, a post, and she's a freshman. And so Logansport's going to be here for a while, and that's my take on it. I got Logansport beating Midland in the Hammond.
And you know what? I actually agree with that, man. Going back and looking at it, we did have someone in the comments talking about Logansport, and you kind of backed it up, did a little more research on that program and what they've done this year. I agree, man. I agree 100%. I think Logansport is a dark horse when you're looking at that double-digit seeded team. I think they got what it takes. I think they got a fantastic draw. And again, no disrespect to West St. John, just have not had the difficult schedule. Same thing with the 5 and the 12 on the top side there. Man, I mean, I could see Logansport versus Midland, and that would be really, really, really fun. And the young lady's name I was talking about from Midland is Camry Jr. Man, I love what Camry's done, man. I love what Camry's done. I think she deserves a lot of credit. Yeah, here it is. Someone's commenting. I think Camry deserves a lot of the credit. Savoy gets a lot of it. Molly gets a lot of the credit for Midland, but not a lot of people are talking enough about Camry the junior that does run the show, puts the ball in her hands, has the ball in her hands more than anybody else on the team. Defends 2 ways. She's a real big reason, and it is the engine and the reason why Midland has made another step. And they're looking at the best draw in a bracket that they've had in the last 3 or 4 years, where they were really trying to fight and claw their way to the top 28. I think they're going to kind of cruise here through the top 28 pretty easily. And White Castle got that brand new facility, man. I would be shocked if White Castle loses a home game. That beautiful gym was not built to lose first or second round playoff games. So I think they're going to get it done. The Bulldogs advance. And Midland's just going to be a little too deep, man. They're going to be able to run and keep and continuing a countless continuous pressure. And they'll kind of run anybody off the line that's on this part of the bracket. But Coach Trace, you got anything else you want to add to this part of the bracket?
Yeah, I mean, the only one I've really seen is Midland, and Cambry and MJ or Molly, and they have the post player. I mean, they've got the pieces to get there, without a doubt. They got the post player. They got the Molly can score. Cambry handles the ball well and pushes tempo. Defensively, they do a lot of different things defensively that causes teams a lot of problems. So, and they hadn't shied away from anybody. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that's in the top part of the bracket. They're the team to beat by far.
We got to give credit when credit's due, man. Coach JB says first person take Logansport over West St. John, but I think not only that, man. I think we're taking Logansport in the top 28 and 13 seed. Talking about them, Liberty. I think this is the year where we see multiple double-digit seeded teams in the top 28. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be some fun ones to keep an eye on. A lot of people talking about Maryville here on the bottom half of the bracket. Coach Tracy, I know you've seen them play. I've seen them play. I love Maryville's style of play. They can really get up and down. I don't know if anyone in that part of the bracket can keep up with the flow and intensity. I think benefits them at that college level. They do make it to Hammond, man. I think that benefits them. Playing on that big court, getting out in open space and run the floor. They don't want to shoot a ton of jump shots. Avery can definitely knock it down, but they want to really get up and down, shoot a bunch of layups. Coach Tracy, what's your thoughts here on the bottom half of this bracket?
Well, the most underrated part to them, to me, is their post play.
Yep.
They will definitely feed it inside to the post. They've got people that can score. They do a good job defensively. I'm like you. I don't think they shoot a ton of threes, but I know Kenoyer can definitely knock them down. And they got a freshman. I'm sorry, eighth. They start, if I'm not mistaken, they start 3 8th graders.
I know they start 2 for
If
sure. I know for sure they start 2.
I want to say it's 3. The Fontenot kid is a tall, lanky kid that defends really, really well. Like I said, and she's not one of the other 2 post players. They're big.
Yeah.
They're really big, and they can defend really well, defend on the post, but they're quick enough to defend the 3. I mean, to me, that's a really good team that's coming out of the bottom of the part of this bracket. I have not seen Arcadia play. I don't really know a lot about them. I have seen Lake Arthur. Grant does a great job over there. They've actually picked it up. This is it's been a while since they've been there. I know they won a state championship 2 or 3 years ago or whatever, but Lake Arthur to me was my sleeper in this. Grand Lake is well coached. Mangum beat Welsh by, I think, 15. Grand Lake, because of the fact of the way they play, they've got a couple of good kids, but they defend really well. They play a lot of different defenses. They could cause some problems for Mangum.
Coach Golay, you want to talk a little bit about
Acadiana? I agree. I don't seen Arcadia a couple times this year. I don't personally think they're the Arcadia from last year, but DeAsia's still DeAsia. So they're gonna be in it, long as she's on the floor, Arcadia's gonna have a shot in. Now I would agree with Coach that Lake Arthur here is a sleeper. And I could possibly see upsetting Arcadia. We have to look at it. Lake Arthur plays in the district with Midland and Lafayette Christian, so they're going to be well battle tested. And I think they found themselves at the 6th seed because over the last month of the season they had a couple losses because they have to play Midland, they have to play Lafayette Christian. Maybe if they don't lose those games because they had to play them, because maybe they're a higher seed. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lake went into Arcadia and beat them.
And they played them close. They played Midland and Lafayette Christian fairly close.
Correct. And, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think, I don't think it is the Arcadia of last year. Of course, they're the state runners up from last year. You got to respect them, right? But when it comes to it, I think Lake Arthur. When it comes down to it, I think Lake Arthur may have a chance to upset them.
And to that point, that does make a lot more sense, respectfully. While if we flip back to that top half of the bracket, that 4 and 5 seed there is not as tough, and that's where we're kind of throwing Logansport out there at the 13 seed. Like to your point, that should be where Lake Arthur comes out at. Lake Arthur should be in that 4 or 5. They should be the ones coming out of there. Rematch versus Midland in the in Hammond in the semifinals, but because they lost 2 games to Midland, there's a doubled round district. They lost 2 games to Midland, number 1 seed in this one, and then they also lost 2 games to LCA, who's the number 1 seed in their end. You see them at the 6th seed. That is, like you said, that's not somebody you want to see, man. As Arcadia, like you do not want to see a team that you should be playing in Hammond. Granted, it is at your place. It's just something to keep an eye on, man. Something to definitely keep an eye on. Ella is a beast, man. Lake Arthur is. I echo what you guys were saying. I think we're kind of all 100% on in this division. A lot of people are not going to have as much information as we do with this division. Logansport, we're calling them in the top 28. Talking about Lake Arthur having a shot to go on the road and upset here. But again, at the end of the day, man, players win games, and the best player in this division, regardless of classification, is DeAsia. and I think she will find a way to put Arcadia back on the bus. They'll take that trip back down to Hammond. Man, I want to talk about too, Plain Dealing. I don't know if y'all saw me post that, but that was a 15-hour bus ride. 7 hours down. I'm sure you had to take at least one stop. 7 hours back. I was told they had to have 2 bus drivers. Shout out to Plain Dealing, man. We know they got the bigs there. 2 of the better players in this division. But man, they go on the road all the way from North Louisiana to an hour south of me, and I'm in New Orleans. An hour south of me. I thought you'd be in the Gulf of Mexico, but apparently you're not. You're in South Plaquemines. So they go on the road to feed South Plaquemines. 15-hour bus ride, man. That's crazy. Respectfully, I think we've got to address that. I didn't even know that was possible, especially for a first-round playoff game. I know a lot of people in the comments were talking about, yeah, Haynesville does it all the time in football, X, Y, Z. But I mean, that's for the state tournament, man. This is different, man. Like, Arcadia is going to do it if they make it to the top 28, but it's different whenever you got to do it for the first round, man. That is wild to me. But yeah, guys, got anything else to say on this part of the district, man? I mean,
So I saw your post. I saw your post, so I'm with you. Is there, to get the conversation started, is there a fix to it? Being a coach, a former coach, I'm a coach now in the division. Is there a fix to that round that we can, that shouldn't happen? 15 hours. That is ridiculous.
Again, I don't know if you do a north versus south, kind of regional type thing, maybe. How often does this happen type of thing? But realistically, you really shouldn't be traveling more than 3 hours probably for a first round playoff game, in my opinion. And, we were looking at some of these guys. Mandeville had to go to West Monroe. Like, a lot of people had to go really, really far for a first round playoff game, only to turn around and come back home same night, man. It's tough. And I said in my post, man, someone smarter than me is going to have to come up with a solution. I don't know the solution, other than maybe doing north versus south, as far as, like, regions. Maybe that could limit it a little bit, but then at the end of the day, do you get the best teams in there every single time? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you get the best teams in there every time now. Like, again, we're talking about we got some double-digit seeded teams possibly making it this year. I don't know, man. I just thought it was very, very interesting. And I thought it was people commenting and bringing light to the situation, so definitely something to keep an eye on. And like I said, it's not an issue until it becomes an issue. We see it all the time. We see a lot of these baseball college buses wrecking and flipping and everything else because, they just throw the baseball team on the road and they go run all these games and everything else, man. It's just, it would not be a pretty sight. It would not be a pretty sight. In Mississippi, you play district, and then whoever wins district goes.
I know teams in Alabama. Oh,
go ahead.
That's what I was fixing to say. I think in Alabama, one of my buddy coaches there, and that's what they do. It's by regions, and you win your region. The top 2 teams are in advance, and they go to the next area, and the top 2 of those advance. So yeah, I mean, I can understand, you have the 3 best teams in one region, and somebody not be able to advance. And I understand that situation, but I'm like you, safety wise, that's a long trip, and I know. I mean, we've had to play Port Sulphur and travel 6 or 7 hours, like that before. And it is a long trip and so forth, but it's safety for the kids. I would agree with that.
I don't know the answer, man. I think we can try to get some smarter people in the conversation, but nonetheless, man, we will move along Division 4. I don't know why, but for some reason it gives a service error. Do y'all get the same service error on y'all's? Doesn't always pull up the bracket on this one, but was able to pull the bracket up. Southern Lab is the team to beat here. I do know some people that are going to that Cedar Creek game tomorrow. They're excited about that one. Man, what y'all's thoughts here, man? We're gonna see a rematch, Cedar Creek, Southern Lab. That was a rematch of last year's state championship game, I believe. It's kind of looking like it's just gonna be the same 2 teams here. What y'all's thoughts? Y'all have any input on this one?
Shout out to St. Mary, and they're in Natchitoches Parish. Coach Lane Huckabee, first year coach there. They go on the road and beat Central Catholic, man, the 21 seed. So he has the two Avas is what I call them. Both of their name is Avas. 1'6'3", 6 whatever she is, and then you have the point guard. Man, she averaged 26, 27 in district. So she's a senior and one's a junior. And I think they got a puncher's chance. I hang St. Edmund. But just looking at their schedule, they played J.S. Clark. They've played Iota, some of the teams that we've talked about earlier. So they played on a Holy Menard close. So it'd be tough for St. Mary's, but shout out for them. That'll be a good one to see. I haven't seen. We know Southern Lab, right? Probably hands down, probably the best team in this division. And probably we could easily say Southern Lab invitational, but I think J.S. Clark's going to have something to say about that. At least make it a game. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. I got Southern Lab and Cedar Creek coming out of the top part of here.
Coach Tracy, what about you, man? You got the same thing, or you see anything you want to add to it?
Nope, same thing. I don't see anybody being able to defeat those. Like I said, I watch a lot of basketball, and Cedar Creek really impresses me the way they play. I know what Southern Lab has, the athletic kids that can basically, get up on you and make things really rough for you. I think those are definitely the two best teams in the top part of the bracket.
We gave a lot of shout out to Asia Pate. I know her father was on there on the last one, man. But man, Corey Wesley and what she's done over there at Southern Lab, she's allowed Asia Pate to be the player that she is, man. And respectfully, Michael Jordan is not Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. And Corey, man, she's been one of the best Scottie Pippens I can remember in a long, long time. Patan used to be the guy that guarded the best player night in, night out. And Corey, after coming over from White Castle, has taken that role over. And she's taken it to a whole nother level. She is the head of the snake for that team defensively, man. And she can flat out score it still. She can still put the ball in the hole, shoot the three, create off the bounce. Arguably the best 1-2 punch. I don't know if there's a better 1-2 punch. You guys can let me know in the comments what y'all starts are. But between Patan and Wesley, man, that's two great 1-2 punches. And like we talked about, man, at the end of the day, guards win basketball games. And it's a Southern Labs game to lose, man. And Coach Flowers just picks it up right where Coach Cheney left off, man. And Southern Lab Lady Kittens are in a great position to win another state title. With that being said, we're going to move down to the bottom half of the bracket. You already talked about J.S. Clark. Coach Golat, you got anything else to add it out, man? Coach Stan Humphreys, great to see Ouachita Christian and that group back in the mix. We've seen them, seems like every 2-3 years they find a way to win 25 games, and they're in the top 25. I mean, they're in the top 28 setting again. He's got them back in that mix again. What's your thoughts here, Coach Golat? Can either of these teams on this side of the bracket compete with Southern Lab?
I think J.S. Clark may give them a run, but the Ouachita Christian J.S. Clark is going to be interesting. I do think J.S. Clark will pull that one off. Coach Fuller has done a great job of keeping it rolling. And shout out to Taylor Babin. All right, is that her last name? Shout out to that kid, man. I think she's had if that kid has had a different coach every year of her high school career, right? And shout out to her to just keep that program afloat. She's been everything there is about J.S. Clark, and she's getting ready to ride off to the sunset. I think she just committed to Dillard, right? Yeah. She just committed to Dillard. And so, that's one of the kids that's been one of the top guards, came to every LGR camp that we had. And, so shout out to her. And I think she's just got J.S. Clark in the situation every year in and after year. And Coach Fuller, championship coach coming over from Lakeview to J.S. Clark, has just kept it rolling. And I think, Coach Stan Humphreys and Ouachita Christians are going to have something to say about it. It's going to be a good matchup there in Hammond. But I would lean towards J.S. Clark and them and Taylor going up against Southern Lab. I just think Southern Lab is just going to be entirely too much. We'll see a good game, but I think Southern Lab is and Age Pante is just the best in this division.
And Coach Tracy, before you go, man, this is a comment here. 3:45 a.m. was whenever he got back in his driveway from that Plain Dealing round trip.
That's Coach Robbie.
Wow.
3:45 a.m. And I believe they left at 8. So that is
that's insane.
DOT regulations would not allow a bus driver to drive that.
No, and like when we went on the trip, we ended up getting we went on a charter, and they had to switch driver because it was too far for one driver to drive that far. So we actually had to switch. I'm gonna say this about J.S. Clark, and the reason why I think J.S. Clark will come out on the bottom part of this bracket. They're another team that has played the Midland, the Sulphur, the Simpson, the Madison Prep, Maryville. They have played a really, really tough schedule. They, to that point, they played Fairview. They lost to Fairview by 4. I just feel that they're going to be more battle tested than the other teams in the bottom part of this bracket. Their district wasn't real strong, but they loaded up before district to make sure that they would be battle tested and ready to go. So I think J.S. Clark's the team to beat in the bottom part of this.
I agree. And like you said, man, Taylor said it, man, whenever she was holding that gold trophy, the state championship trophy, man. In order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And they've been the man themselves, man. And I want to double down on what you said about Taylor, man. If you have a young daughter that is undersized and wants to play basketball at the next level, make sure you find a way to come watch a J.S. Clark game, because that young lady leaves it on the line, man. There's nobody like pound for pound the best basketball player in Louisiana, man. Like, she's undersized. She has transitioned everything that she's done over the last couple of years into her dream of playing college basketball at Dillard, the next level. And, man, she sacrifices her body every single night on both ends. I would go out on a limb and say no one in the state of Louisiana in girls basketball is taking more charges than her. Like, she is an elite charge taker. And as an undersized guard at the next level, at collegiate level, you've got to be able to do that. You got to be able to knock down shots. You got to be able to run your offense. You got to be able to lead your team to the top 28 games. So deep runs in the playoffs. She's done that every single year. Regardless who her coach has been, she's been the coach on the court. And, man, hats off to that young lady and the career she's had, man. It's going to be a fun run. And we hope we see her in Hammond and we get to talk about the run and that she's had, man. But I just want to take the time to give both of those kids their flowers in this division. With that being said, man, let's move on to Class B. We got somebody that's the number 1 seed. I heard they're pretty good. I heard they got a young lady that scored a couple points in Miss Payton. But Coach Golad, man, you want to get us started, man? That way we don't get Coach Tracy in too much trouble here. What's your thoughts here, man? Class B. Coach called Hicks at Holden, man, with the upset, man. Shout out to Hicks. The 20 seed makes it to the second round. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the highest seed left in the tournament, regardless of classification. So huge shout out to Hicks as they go on the road. Not an easy place to win as they defeat Holden Rockets on the road. Coach Golad, man, what's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, man. Like you said, man, there's a pretty good program there in Bell City. Just keeps it rolling every year, and we find ourselves every year talking about Bell City, right? And I think the coach over there, that's name escapes me, man. He just does a great job with what he does, and we got to start talking about him in those like I said, one of the best coaches in the state, right? And Oak Hill is going to come in, and Coach Casey does a great job with her program. I think that's her name, right? Coach Casey, right?
Yep.
Right. She does a great job with her program, but I think they're just going to be outmatched here. He's on another level this year. I got them perhaps going against Anna Coco in the next round. Anna Coco, that's another program that when we talk about Class B basketball, that just keeps it rolling every year. But I don't see, that's just me. And maybe one of our guests can chime in if they feel like maybe that I don't see anybody beating Bell City in this top half of this in this bracket.
Before we get too much into it, Coach Tracy, man, you want to take this opportunity again to talk about Peyton and what she's meant to the program. Again, a young lady that just left it all on the court, man, and is being recognized for scoring, I believe it's 2,000 points in her career. And she will go on to play college basketball as well at Loyola of New Orleans. And shout out to Loyola, man, top 15 ranked program. They just rolled off their 15th win in a row at home. Great program to be a part of, top NAIA team. But, Coach, you want to talk about Peyton and, just kind of recapping her career and what she's meant to that program?
Well, she started playing for us in the 7th grade because we're K through 12. Got a lot of playing time as an 8th grader and so forth, and has matured, grew, hit a growth spurt, to that point. Works extremely hard. She's a scorer, but is finally learning how to play defense. She blocks shots. She's our leading charge taker. She leads us in every statistical category, but she's got that ability just to make everybody around her better. She demands so much attention that other players can feed off of her. She has that it factor, and I'm blessed. Like I said, I've been doing this 35, 36 years, and I've maybe had 2 or 3 kids that had that capability. So it's a blessing for me to be able to coach a kid that. And she had some D1 offers, but she wanted to go to. She said she loved Loyola. Matter of fact, I think Carly's going there.
Yep.
So she'll be up there with her. Not for sure, but I want to say the post player for Midland may be going there also.
Correct.
Yeah, just so she knows some people there, and started playing AAU and so forth, and got her name out there. But just very proud of what she's accomplished, and very proud of the commitment and the work that she's put in.
Absolutely. And I think this is a great comment here by Coach. He's saying Bell City is definitely a favorite, but not a great draw for the number 1 seeds. Anna Coco and Oak Hill are much better than their seeding. I think we've talked about that a little bit in the last broadcast, but I agree with that, man. And it's just something about Class B District 4, man. Class B District 4, if you don't know, that's Pitkin, Fairview, Anna Coco, Hicks. Teams year in, year out we're continuing to talk about. And I think it's like you had talked about with the Lake Arthur situation where those guys are kind of beating up on themselves, taking a couple L's, and that's where you see these teams start to fall a little bit. But these teams are much better than their rankings. And Anna Coco's one, Pickens on the other side. You got Fairview as well. And then, like we said, we have Hicks as the 20 seed, which I believe is the highest seed left in the tournament. Someone talked about Hicks maybe having a chance to make it to the top 28. What's y'all's thoughts on that? Coach, what's your thoughts on the Hicks and Greet second round matchup?
Well, I'm going to say this. Anna Coco is a lot better than 9 seed because of that they play in, and they will be battle tested. Shudrin, I don't know a whole lot about, but I know Anna Coco is going to be ready for that, that game. The Zwolle-Lacassine game, Zwolle will push it up the floor a little bit, but, they got a post player that's pretty good. They got a guard that's pretty good, but Lacassine's pace of play, and they defend really well. It's just they're small, and so I think that game kind of intrigues me also. But the Negrete Hicks game could be a really good game. Negrete is both of those teams, when you go back and look, have always been two of the better teams in Class B. Negrete, we played them in the third round last year, and it was a good game. They got the size, they got the guards, well coached. Hicks has the 4 guards that can play. They got a post player, but they shoot it really well. That's going to be a really good game. I couldn't pick a win out of that. I would have to give the edge to Negrete because they're playing at home, but that's going to be a really, really good game, and it wouldn't surprise me if Hicks did upset them. But I would still have to give the edge to Negrete on that one.
Man, this comment here is very interesting. Someone says District 4B, like we talked about, goes 4-0 Monday night. With that being said, that is a very bold statement. But as far as a team that's battle tested, it reminds me of that same district that we talk about with the Parkview Baptist, U High, Mass, and Prep. Man, again, teams that are raising the bar. Fairview's raising the bar, so you're playing these teams night in, night out. I think you see with John Curtis. John Curtis has raised the bar. Force, the Mount Carmels and the Chappelles and all the Dominicans, these teams to continue to climb where that championship standard, I guess. I would not be surprised either, man. I thought Hicks would have a shot at Holden. I thought Holden would pull it out being at home. But, man, once you start getting some momentum in, Negrete was at home, not playing a game. Now Hicks starts rolling in a little bit of momentum. I can see the same thing with Liberty, man. I think Liberty starts rolling in some momentum, man. I wouldn't be shocked if District 4B does go undefeated. But we'll get down to the bottom half of the bracket. The Kyle Jinks Invitational. Coach Golat, what's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on that comment we had earlier?
I would for the bottom half. But I've seen Castle this year. They play very well. I haven't seen Pitkin. But the work that Jinx does at Factory, it's kind of hard to pick against him every year. Quitman did the same thing. They went on ahead and played their second round game against Florine. Kind of that it looks like Class B is going to be closer than the Kings. The power rankings say, because you got a 11-6 comes down to 4 points the other night, Florine Quitman, right? And so you got Quitman sitting there getting ready to play Fairview, and they have not played this year. Yes, they did. They played this year, and Fairview handled them pretty well by almost 40 points, 41 points. So you're looking at Fairview going into Hammond, probably against Pitkin from the bottom. And to your point earlier with the Hicks, I think Homer at number 22 going to there is the highest seed left.
Oh, did we lose? Oh, my bad.
Did I lose y'all?
It kind of cut out at the very end. The kind of matchup that I'm looking at is that B4 District 4 man rematch, Pitkin and Fairview. Pitkin trying to get up to the state championship caliber of Fairview. Pitkin is the 2 seed, but they did lose to Fairview twice already. Would you rather be Kyle Jinks in Fairview and have won 2 games against Pitkin? You're the 3 seed. This is, our second home here in Hammond, America. Would you rather be Pitkin? I'm the 2 seed. Fairview's got to beat me now 3 times in the same year. What side of that coin would you rather be on?
I'd rather be on the Pitkin side because me personally, if you look at the first game that they lost to Fairview, it was only by 7 points. It was a shootout, Kyle Jinks style play. But then the second one, maybe we went to Fairview, only had a letdown, and Fairview handled them pretty well. So I think Pitkin might think that they can make the adjustments if we make a tweak here and there. The pressure is on Fairview. Right? If you're anything, the pressure's on FAMU because again, the comment was it's the FAMU invitation, right? So, hey, girls, the pressure's on them. They gotta beat us the third time. So, and we all know it's hard to beat somebody 3 times there.
And for those that don't know, Fairview Lady Panthers have won 16 state championships. The most or second most is 11. So yeah, they got a little bit of experience there. So somehow, some way, Fairview and the Kyle Jinks Invitational, Fairview somehow becomes the underdog again. Seems like they did that same thing last year. Was able to claim the underdog role and rally the troops, and we're not supposed to be here. Everyone's voting and picking against us. I kind of like that spot again. I don't see how we're allowing Kyle Jinks and Coach Otis to continue to be defending state champs and have all these rings and everything and still play the underdog role, but somehow, some way, they continue to do that. Man, this is going to be a fun one, dude. This is going to be a fun one.
I think.
Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I think they were ranked number 1 last year. Fairview was.
Oh, were they? Okay.
I think we were number 2. Yeah, we were number 2. I was at the Fairview Pitkin game at Fairview, and AJ for Fairview hits a shot from 3/4 court to go up into the first quarter, 20-25. It was one of the most exciting first quarters I've ever seen. And I mean, it was just back and forth. Both teams can shoot it. Both teams get after you defensively. Both teams are physical. I didn't see the second game, but I mean, I don't see Weston being able to handle Fairview, and Quitman. I don't see them being able to handle Fairview. When you get to the bottom part of that, the Hathaway Glenmore game, you're looking at Glenmore, who's a really good defensive team. They have some athletes. If they get hot, they can shoot it okay and cause you a lot of problems. They haven't shied away. They've played a really tough schedule, as Hathaway has also. But Hathaway does a really good job defensively, but they can score. Jagno does a good job. He's been a very successful coach everywhere he's went to. In Greenhouse at Glenmore always has his teams prepared. That's going to be a really good game. That would be one worth going to watch if you're around there somewhere. Castor I have not seen, but I've seen Pitkin play multiple occasions. The depth that they have, they're deeper than probably anybody in Class B. Phillip plays a lot of kids. They can shoot it, and when they're shooting the ball well, they're really tough. They're physical. They're not big, but the pace of play, and let's be honest, with Fairview having the success that they've had, you have a lot of teams that are starting to kind of copy that, saying, look, if you can't beat them, join them. Yeah. We try to play fast. Pitkin plays fast. It's to that point where if you can't match that pace, you don't have a shot. And that whole district with Fairview and Pitkin and Hicks and Anaco have all got to that point where they play that fast-paced game, and that's why that district is very competitive and very strong.
For sure. And again, I just want to double back to it, man. Wiseman has won 4 straight state titles as a 4 seed, and a lot of people are claiming them as the underdog. Fairview's won 5 of the last 6 titles in this one, and they've made it to a state championship game 6 years in a row. So there's a lot of young ladies that have come through that program, and they have a lot of experience of playing in that last game of the year and winning that last game of the year. And in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. So Fairview Lady Panthers are the favorite, in my opinion, despite being the 3 seed. Until somebody else knocks them off, in my opinion, 5 out of the last 6 is pretty impressive. And being runner-up in that one versus Hathaway just a few years ago. But we're going to move it along down to Simpson Invitational. Simpson is your defending state champs, and they run back the entire team. I'm not sure if the managers came back, but all the players, everyone that dressed out last year, is dressing out again. Simpson's one of the top teams in the state, regardless of classification. Coach and her staff has done a fantastic job. They continue to push the envelope. Their schedule is deeper. Their schedule is more challenging. They've taken a couple L's. This time last year, I think they hadn't lost a game in a long, long time. So they've challenged themselves. I think they're better because of it. Took a couple L's against some of the 5A teams, and as well as Rose Pine and Midland. But what's y'all's thoughts here? Who can compete with Simpson and company?
I think Calvin does. I think Calvin will have something to say about the Simpson Invitational. Coach does. I met him for the first time this year. We played him early when we were just trying to just get our feet wet, trying to find out what we were going to be, and they beat us like we stole something. And but they're a really good, solid team, and they got a good kid. I would vouch. They got a kid that comes off the bench that played the state title with Lakeview last year. Would have been our best kid. But she's coming off the bench. That's just how deep they're going to be. 6, 7, 8 kids, man. And a lot of his freshmen has stepped up. So I know Simpson is the team to beat. I'll agree with you on that. But I think Calvin will have something to say, at least make it a game to where we can have not just a blowout in Hammond.
Coach
and don't sleep on Pleasant Hill.
Good.
Don't sleep on Pleasant Hill. I'm sorry. I forgot Pleasant Hill is right in my area. Don't sleep on them. I had them at my tournament. I saw them play. I can't remember who they play. And, man, they shoot the lights out the ball. And they're another one of those teams that just gets up after you. They just get after you all game. So don't sleep on them. On Pleasant Hill, Calvin, whoever comes out of that bottom to play Simpson.
Cool, Trace, you got anything else on this part of the bracket?
Top part, Hack Reeves. I don't know if either one of those can play with Simpson. Looking at the bottom, I don't know much about Phoenix. I know Evans is a solid team. Matter of fact, they're in Simpson's district, so they played each other, and Simpson's beaten them. But I still feel that, like I said, I don't know much about Phoenix, but Evans is going to be the other team in that bracket that would give them a game. I've seen Pleasant play. I've not seen Calvin play. I don't think anybody can beat Calvin on the bottom part of that. Pleasant Hill, like Coach said, they get after you. They got some kids that can shoot it. I still say Ebarb is one of those teams that could give Pleasant Hill some problems. They beat Anacoco last couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and they're solid. They played a pretty good schedule. Ebarb would probably be the one sleeper that, if I had to pick one at the bottom, that could maybe give Pleasant Hill a run for their money.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Coach. They played the last game of the year, and it was a 5-point game, so you're absolutely dead on there. That's a great point there.
And the
I think that may be the same district also.
Yep, correct. The comment here is for some reason not pulling back up, but Peyton had said numbers 1, 3, 4, and 6 are all from the same district. Again, we're seeing that in multiple divisions now. So my point in that is, man, if you are getting your head knocked in, year in, year out, man, just stay the course and continue to try to reach that bar, whatever it is, whether it's John Curtis or Madison Prep or Fairview or Simpson, whoever it is. And at the end of the day, 3-4 years from now, man, it's just the cream's gonna continue to rise to the crop. And the cream's gonna continue to rise to the top. And it's like whoever we can find a way to continue to raise the bar, especially in girls basketball, like everyone else is gonna reach that bar. So shout out to Simpson, man. They've set that bar extremely high. Lady Broncos continue to roll, like this comment here says, but man, some people in their district are definitely trying their best to chase them down. And it comes in, night out, trying to get there. and the whole district is benefiting from it. We've seen that across the state, 3-4 brackets.
Yeah, and coach, you know, it's kind of like we're going back for the last couple of years, like you're saying, everybody in these districts that are running these brackets where you see the 1, the 3, the 4 are all from the same district. It's like we used to talk about with 1-5A, right? The hardest district in all of basketball. Or 5A, when you looked up, the 1-5A district had won, I think, the last 3, 4, 5 state titles in 5A, and now you got not only just 1-5A, but now you have these lower brackets as well, where that's starting to catch on, where these teams in different districts are becoming tough, night in, night out, and that's just a testament of these coaches, you know, up in their game, and these programs are come along there.
Yep, stay the course, absolutely. Man, we really appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Safe travels, everybody that's on the road. Really enjoy these opportunities. Coach Tracy, we really appreciate you for coming on, man, having a home game tomorrow. We know that's definitely not easy. Try to get some rest. Try not to stay up watching too much film. But it is 10:30, man, at night, so we really appreciate everybody for joining us. It is a very fun time of year, but 7 days from now, we will be getting ready for the top 28 and the Final Four. So this shit goes fast.
I got a question, Chris.
Go ahead.
I got a question, and it's off topic. We've been on, but there's a particular vote that's going down there in Baton Rouge on Thursday. What do you think about it?
Which one? What you got? Shed some light on it.
The transfer vote.
In my opinion, considering that we had over like 1,000 different pieces of paperwork, and we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of transfers and everything else, there is nobody in, like, it would take unlimited number of hours to approve all that paperwork and do it at the level that needs to be done. So in my opinion, with that being said, I think personally we should allow the one-time transfer, clean sweep, one time, boom, no paperwork needs to really be done, and then you kind of move on. I think that eliminates over 90% of the paperwork in that transfer situation. We don't have enough hours to go in and say if Sally moved here, if Susan was bullied, if little Joe was in this. Like, there's so much that you can do, and you can manipulate the system, whether it's get lawyers involved, bullying. And I understand there are situations like that do come down, but too many people are taking advantage of that, in my opinion. So, with that being said, I think we tend to always follow the NCAA rules. It just takes a little bit longer for those to kind of come down. So, NCAA had allowed it a one-time transfer. Then it went to unlimited. I think one-time transfer eliminates 95% of paperwork, and I think LHSA will be able to do the job that they're supposed to, and they're needed to do. They're not going to be stuck behind chasing all this paperwork down. That's my opinion. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I think just reading the emails that we got on it, and after the LHSA got called into the legislative, I think they pretty much understand as well. And I know the principals voted it down religiously. They just said no last time, right? But I think after talking to the legislator, and I think the legislator, if the principals don't pass it, the legislature is about to pass it. So I think that's just my opinion. I think it'll pass over third. I'll be surprised if it.
The LHSA wants it to pass. They are the ones that proposed it last time.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Coach.
I'm going to say this couple of things. Number one, I not saying I necessarily agree or disagree with it, but I think the LHSA, if it's inevitable, they just as soon pass it. And the reason being is that if they want to amend it later, they can. If they allow the legislation to make that into a state law, and you want to amend that, it's going to take an act of Congress to get that amended. Number two, and here's the question: if you allow this with a one-time transfer rule, doesn't that make everybody select to the point now where the split would basically end?
Oh, wow. I didn't think of that.
That's a good question. I think it just goes back to the number of percentage of people that are outside of your area is what it boils down to. Is what the handbook detailed of what a state school is. It's like a percentage of number. But again, LHSA wants this to pass. They proposed this last year. They want, at the end of the day, they want less paperwork. They don't want to send their guys out chasing Sally's mailbox and does she do this and is Sally bullied? It's like they don't want to do all that. They want to do the stuff respectfully that matters in the sport scope of things. Now, if they have to do it, a multi-time transfer and stuff like that, it goes back to like a medical redshirt in the NCAA. Yeah, of course they're going to do it. They're going to spend some time on that. But it was overtaking everything. And there was just too many ways around it. The bullying and the other issues that you could claim. But that is a good point with the legislation. Like, LHSA wants it, so I guess it's up to the principals. I guess on that point as well, what are y'all's thoughts on the vote to you do not have to be a faculty coach any longer in basketball? Basketball and football is the only sports where you have to be a faculty teacher and or with the staff to be a head coach. They're talking about taking that away. I believe that is up for vote as well. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I disagree with it.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Me too. I just think that if you're going to be a coach and have, the input that you need to know your kids, you need to be around them all day. You need to be able to check on grades. You need to make sure everything's going right in the school. I disagree with that. I just think that's a really, really bad thing.
I think it opens the floodgates to the AAU coaches coming in, taking over. And then the kids just following again, you know what I mean? So, I just think I agree with Coach down at the bottom that you need to be on campus. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong.
And I think the issue is not the elite of the elite teams. It's the 150 bottom teams that are really struggling to find coaches and teachers as well. I mean, the teaching profession is getting more and more difficult. It's not very easy to find a math teacher and a basketball coach anymore. So I do know it's getting very, very difficult, especially in the New Orleans greater area, especially girls basketball. I've said it on post. Girls basketball is now fourth. You got track, volleyball, soccer. Girls basketball is fourth, the fourth most popular sport. And it's the only girls sport where you have to be a faculty teacher. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I don't think it will completely open the floodgates because I think the principals will be up to they'll have a decision. At least at that point, if they can't find somebody, you're not forcing someone to coach. Like respectfully, a JFK, an Ursuline, a McMain, a Sophie B. Wright. These schools that probably most of you got, like most people on here haven't even heard of as far as girls basketball talent, but those are the schools and the teams, the programs that are struggling to find coaches day in, day out. But it's going to be interesting.
Well, those coaches, help me if I'm right, Coach. Help me out if I'm wrong. Like for Ursuline, say it's a private school anyway, so I mean you don't really have to be quote unquote certified anyway, right? They can stick you on campus. I mean, so we're talking about getting your teacher certificate, doing it the right way, and being on campus. And just like everybody else is doing.
Correct. You don't have to, but it's again they're still having a lot of difficult finding people, and it's just the time and energy that people are not putting in. Like we're not having JV games, we're not having freshman games. I think the sport is going this way. I think possibly getting some of these AAU guys in here that are excited about basketball, it might help. I don't know, but the other flip side of that is once you do that, like Coach said earlier, like you can't go back. You're never going to be able to go back. Once you do open up those quote unquote floodgates, like you're never going to be able to go back. So, two very interesting things, two very interesting topics. Keep an eye on.
All right, fellas, it's basketball playoffs.
Appreciate it, man. Coach Golab, man. Before we go, man, what's your message to the fans watching, the players, the coaches, as we got this last week of the season, man? Give us some closing remarks, man. What's your message to everybody?
Hey, seniors, give it all you got. Empty your tank. As I tell my kids all the time, if you give it your all, and you know that you gave it your all, you can live with the results. Play it like every possession like it's your last. Have fun. And fans, get out to these gyms, support these kids. You don't know, you go to a playoff game and it's minimum kids and minimum fans in the stands. That's important to kids. Get out and support the kids, communities. The Class B's, Class C's, they shut the communities down and they support the kids. But these higher up schools, get out and support the kids. Kids, play it with your all, and have fun, and live with the results.
Love it, man. Well, Coach Tracy, man, we appreciate y'all, man. Good luck, and hopefully we'll be able to tune back in a couple days and recap the quarterfinals games, baby. Stir the pot. Stir the pot. Appreciate y'all, man. Until next time.
It's here.
All right, Coach.